Chapter 81, Gu Family's Genius, the Woman in Green Who Is Like Heaven, Heavenly Dragon Empress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom! Several figures soared into the sky, chasing after them. Each one emitted an extremely powerful aura, all of them at the peak of the Great Saint Realm. Each powerful individual belonged to a different race, but without exception, they were all the strongest of the Sea clan. She's heavily injured and won't be able to escape far, one of them, a big man with shark teeth and long blue hair, spoke with a cold and indifferent gaze. Prince Ao Lin said that the Dragon Maiden must die, but how to deal with her is up to us. Another powerful individual spoke, with a pair of flood dragon horns, a burly figure, and a fierce expression. At this moment, he sneered, his eyes filled with greed. That's the Dragon Maiden of the Sea God Palace, inheriting the bloodline of both the true Dragon Clan and the Sea God Clan, combining the two bloodlines. Her talent is so strong that she can be called the strongest among the generations of the Sea Clan. If she weren't still young and only in the mid-stage of the Great Saint Realm, they wouldn't necessarily be her opponents. Don't waste time, His Highness has already made a move against the Sea God Palace. Now that the strong individuals of the Sea God Palace can't intervene, it's the best opportunity to capture the Dragon Maiden. Let's catch up. The other two powerful individuals also spoke. In total, there were 4 of them, all of them top experts belonging to the East Dragon Palace. Boom! Soon, they tore through space and quickly caught up, their target being the Chaos Kun Divine Domain. This Sea God Domain, originally boiling due to a great war, was gradually calming down. It was an area that seemed to be collapsing and splitting apart, just like the heavens and earth. However, the aftermath of the battle between several great saints still destroyed not just thousands of races. Countless sea creatures lost their lives, and the sea was stained red with blood. In this cruel world, weakness is a crime. The Chaos Divine Domain, this is a domain far away from the rule of the everlasting Imperial Court, the territory of another dominant force, the Sacred Land of Chaos. This divine domain is also the center of the Sacred Land of Chaos, where their Sacred Land is located. At this moment, at the center of the Sacred Land of Chaos, a magnificent and endless fairy palace is situated. Countless palaces and divine mountains stand tall, surrounded by the mist of the 593 fairy fog, with spiritual beasts dancing in the air. This is one of the 4 dominant forces in the Sacred Land of Chaos, the everlasting heaven realm, and at this moment, within a majestic and boundless divine mountain in the Sacred Land of Chaos, there is a magnificent palace. Inside the palace, there is a fairy pond, from which various essences spurt out, with countless particles of light dancing in a dazzling manner. In the fairy pond, a handsome young man is sitting cross-legged, absorbing the power of numerous particles of light. His aura is surging and extremely terrifying, like a divine king. If an outsider were here, they would surely be shocked, because this fairy pond is an extremely rare creation holy spring. The essence spurted out from it is the purest power of the holy source, and those particles of light are transformed from fragments of the rules of the Tao. This is an extremely rare divine object, even a Quasi-Emperor would be envious. The holy source is the highest level of source, more astonishing than the divine source. Even a fist-sized piece of it is comparable to a top-grade source mine. The holy source condensed in this creation holy spring is far more than just thousands, and the young man can sit and cultivate within it, absorbing the purest essence of the holy source. By cultivating in this holy spring, even a great saint powerhouse can travel 1,000 miles in a day. Boom! At this moment, within the holy spring, the handsome young man opened his eyes, and a terrifying divine light shot out, piercing through the void. An astonishing holy might also emanated from his body. I have finally become a saint, the handsome young man murmured, unable to help but want to howl towards the sky, filled with excitement. After going through so much effort, he has finally achieved it. Coupled with possessing 2 great constitutions, even if he becomes an emperor in the future, there is a great possibility. How could this not make him excited? You honor. At this moment, a gentle voice came from the void, pleasant and enchanting, like celestial music. Master. The handsome young man's heart stirred, knowing that his master was calling for him. Soon, he emerged from the holy spring, dressed in white, surrounded by spiritual mist. He was very handsome, like an exiled immortal. A powerful aura of holiness emanated from him, and his eyes were filled with divine light, which was astonishing. "I must go see my master," that without much thought, the handsome young man walked towards the grand hall. Soon, he entered a magnificent palace. Inside the palace stood an incredibly beautiful figure with her hands behind her back. She wore a green robe, with her long black hair reaching her ankles. Her eyes were deep and contained countless great principles. She showed no sorrow or joy, like the supreme heavenly path. Gazing into the distance, her aura was incredibly terrifying. Even though she didn't deliberately emit it, it was still like the vast universe, boundless and causing uncontrollable trembling. "Greetings, master," the handsome young man approached, respectfully speaking. "Your Honor, you have not disappointed me. After consuming many resources, you have finally achieved sainthood." The woman in the green robe turned around, revealing her true appearance. She was extremely beautiful, like a dream. Her lips curved slightly, enchanting and captivating, as if illuminating the 3,000 realms, dazzling with brilliance. The young man couldn't help but tremble in his heart, quickly lowering his head to conceal the burning in his eyes. "It's because of my incompetence, master. If my aptitude were better, with so many resources, would have achieved sainthood long ago." The handsome young man lowered his head, feeling ashamed. "Compared to some top geniuses, you are indeed lacking. With the same resources, if it were someone else, they would have reached the peak of saint by now." The woman in the green robe nodded, agreeing with this statement. The young man fell silent. He was just being modest, but why did his master really belittle him? "However, you have an advantage compared to others, and that is your myriad tribulations bone. That's why I spared no expense in providing you with abundant resources to help you achieve sainthood quickly." The woman in the green robe continued speaking. She didn't pay attention to the handsome young man's silence. It seemed as if the universe's order and countless great paths were contained in her eyes, shining with unparalleled mystery and profundity. "Next, you will participate in the Saint Child Grand Competition in the Sacred Land. I don't expect you to become the strongest Saint Child, but at least you must rank among the top. Only then can you enter that place and inherit the legacy of the immortal Great Emperor. A few years ago, when I was contemplating deeply, I unexpectedly discovered you during a journey in the Purple Cloud Sacred Land. You possess the primordial divine body and the myriad tribulations Dao bone. I have to say, it's a miracle." The woman in the green dress looked at the young man, as if she could see through everything, causing a tremor in his heart. "The reason why it's a miracle is because this myriad tribulations Dao bone is not originally his, but was taken from his clan sister. He is Gu Yuan, the only genius left in the Gu family. He joined the Purple Cloud Sacred Land and was accepted as a direct disciple by a prominent figure. Originally, he intended to compete for the position of Saint Child. However, he was chosen by the passing green-dressed woman and became her disciple. The identity of the green-dressed woman is even more astonishing. She is one of the 10 Hall Masters of the Sacred Land of Chaos, a peak Quasi-Emperor, and the Azure Lord. Such an identity is truly shocking. Therefore, when she asked him to be her disciple, Gu Yuan didn't hesitate and agreed directly. "It's a pity that you don't possess the myriad tribulations indestructible body. Otherwise, finding the tomb of the immortal Great Emperor would be almost certain. But now, even if you can achieve 30%, it would be considered good." The Azure Lord sighed lightly, "but there's nothing that can be done about it. The myriad tribulations indestructible body is extremely rare, and it's difficult for one to be born in billions of years. Having a myriad tribulations Dao bone is already quite rare. If it weren't for this, she wouldn't have accepted Gu Yuan as her disciple and expended a large amount of resources to help him become a saint. The combination of the myriad tribulations Dao bone and the primordial divine body is indeed extraordinary. When combined, their aptitude can approach that of a normal sacred body, but it's still not enough to catch her attention. The reason for accepting him as a disciple was solely because of the myriad tribulations Dao bone. Do you have anything else to do next? If not, for the next 10 years, you must focus on cultivating and strive for the position of Saint Child." The Azure Lord said. "Master, I earnestly request your permission to allow me to return to the true Saint Continent and kill that old thief Su Changsheng who destroyed my disciple's family." Upon hearing this, Gu Yuan's face immediately filled with sorrow and he knelt down, pleading, although Gu Yuan was very ruthless and was willing to take away his clan sister's Dao Bone for the sake of his own talent, causing the destruction of the ninth branch of the family, he still had deep feelings for his father, ancestors, and relatives in the clan. Therefore, when he learned that the Gu family had been destroyed by Su Changsheng, he was filled with rage and wanted revenge. However, he was too weak at that time. Su Changsheng was a saint, someone he couldn't contend with. But now that he has joined the sacred land of chaos, not only is he a disciple of a Quasi-Emperor, but he has also become a saint. With the help of two great physiques, he is confident that he can easily kill Su Changsheng. My disciple, do you know the strength of Su Changsheng? Upon hearing this, the face of the Azure Lord showed some strangeness. She looked at Gu Yuan with a playful look in her eyes. Strength? Didn't he just become a saint not long ago? As a fellow saint, it only takes one move for my disciple to kill him. Gu Yuan was momentarily stunned, then confidently said, having two top-tier divine bodies, it would be extremely easy for him to kill an ordinary saint at the same level. Oh. What if I told you that Su Changsheng has already broken through to the Saint King realm and once killed a half-step great saint with a single sword strike? He has also severed a strand of a Quasi-Emperor's divine sense with a single sword strike, the Azure Lord said with a playful look in her eyes. What? How is that possible? He isn't. Upon hearing this, Gu Yuan was dumbfounded. To sever a strand of a Quasi-Emperor's divine sense with a single sword strike, what kind of monster is he? With this kind of strength, even if he were to cultivate for hundreds of years, he wouldn't necessarily be able to seek revenge. Moreover, didn't Changsheng just recently break through to the Saint realm? In such a short time, he was able to kill a Quasi-Emperor's divine sense. If he were given hundreds of years, how terrifying would he become? For a moment, Gu Yuan's mind trembled, his face turned pale, completely struck by Su Changsheng, originally filled with confidence and a soaring momentum, he completely fell into decline. My disciple. Seeing Gu Yuan looking dejected, the Azure Lord frowned. She didn't want to see her painstakingly cultivated disciple go to waste. She immediately shouted like thunder, my disciple, I'm sorry for disappointing you. Gu Yuan woke up from his daze and saw the disappointment in the eyes of the Azure Lord. He immediately felt extremely ashamed and quickly knelt down on the ground, speaking in a low voice. Disciple, you don't have to be discouraged. Su Changsheng has a great secret, not just a simple talent. He should be a powerful cultivator who has undergone a rebirth, which is why his cultivation can improve so rapidly, said the Azure Lord. Because of Gu Yuan's relationship, the Azure Lord paid some attention to Su Changsheng. With the power of the sacred land of chaos, it was naturally easy to investigate a saint like him. And Su Changsheng's many achievements, in the eyes of the Azure Lord, they were indeed astonishing, but they were mostly the power of his previous self. The so-called rebirth is when a powerful cultivator takes away their cultivation when their physical body decays and withers, then takes over someone else's body to cultivate again, and can quickly restore their peak strength in a short period of time. This is a different kind of reincarnation, but it does not extend one's lifespan. On the contrary, it greatly reduces one's own lifespan. Moreover, due to the mismatch between the primordial spirit and the physical body, there are flaws in the operation of the great Tao. After the rebirth, it is basically impossible to continue to break through, and one can only remain at the original realm for their entire life. Therefore, very few powerful cultivators would do such a thing. But if I want to seek revenge, I'm afraid it will take hundreds or even thousands of years. Gu Yuan said bitterly, thousands of years is too long. Disciple, you still don't understand who you are. You are my disciple, a direct disciple of a Quasi-Emperor at the peak, the true successor of the sacred land of chaos. Your background is your strongest weapon. The Azure Lord's tone couldn't hide her disappointment. Background? Gu Yuan was stunned for a moment, then ecstatic. Master, are you willing to help me? You are ultimately my disciple. In order to let you wholeheartedly cultivate, I will remove this obstacle for you. Even if Su Changsheng is strong, he is only a great saint. With a Quasi-Emperor making a move, he can be killed with a flick of a finger. The Azure Lord said calmly, in her opinion, he was just an old guy who had undergone a rebirth, and posed no threat at all. With a little seriousness, he could be easily crushed. Master, I want to go with you. Gu Yuan gritted his teeth and said with a face full of hatred, even if he couldn't personally take action, he wanted to see Su Changsheng die with his own eyes. But, I will arrange for a Quasi-Emperor and a few great saints to go with you. In addition, take this. The Azure Green Sovereign threw him a token, plain and unadorned, with only the character Azure on it. What is this? Gu Yuan couldn't help but be stunned. It's the Azure Green token, containing a trace of my incarnation. If you encounter a crisis, it will automatically protect you. The Azure Green Sovereign continued. Next, I will go into seclusion for a period of time and won't come out in the short term. When I return, remember to diligently cultivate. If you slack off, I will punish you severely. Alright, you may leave now. With that, the Azure Green Sovereign waved his hand and sent Gu Yuan away. Then, she stood with her hands behind her back, her gaze penetrating through many divine realms, staring into the unknown. It's a pity, it would be great if there was a true myriad tribulations indestructible body. After a long time, she sighed. A Quasi-Emperor sovereign taking action, Su Changsheng, you are doomed this time. Outside the hall, Gu Yuan held the token in his hand, his eyes filled with undisguised excitement. Soon, he left, preparing to invite a sovereign to take action and annihilate Su Changsheng in the true Saint Continent. On the other side, in the 10,000 Dragon Heavenly Territory, in the Dragon God Realm, there was a vast and magnificent palace belonging to the ancient imperial clan. This was the Heavenly Territory ruled by the Dragon God clan, a clan with a fearsome and illustrious reputation, at this moment, in a towering palace of the Dragon God Imperial clan. Aunt, I have brought the information you wanted to investigate. Su Changsheng, Everlasting Heaven Realm, Chaos Kun Divine Domain, this person in the true Saint Continent should be the most suitable for your needs. In the palace, a stunningly beautiful woman walked over. She had a pair of golden dragon horns, a cold and beautiful face, and was dressed in extremely gorgeous attire that shimmered with flowing colors. With every movement, she exuded an incomparably noble temperament. She was the princess of the Dragon God clan, suppressed by the holy ranking. May 1st, really? Okay. Not far from her, a beautiful woman sat with a gloomy expression. Upon hearing these words, her eyes lit up and she quickly walked over, soon bursting into a cold laughter. A mere great saint, cultivating as a Quasi-Emperor, dares to provoke me, Tsang'er. I will make him die. Mei Zi said coldly. A terrifying aura filled the air, tearing through the heavens and earth, causing even the heavenly dragon Empress to furrow her brows, feeling a sense of oppression. Sorry, Qingge, thank you. The beautiful woman also realized and quickly retracted her imposing manner, her face filled with gentleness. It's alright, Auntie, I'll go in your place. The heavenly dragon Empress shook her head and said. Go in my place? Qingge, that's a Quasi-Emperor who has reached the Transcendent Emperor level. Even if he hasn't fully recovered, he's not someone a great saint can handle. Upon hearing this, the beautiful woman frowned. She didn't distrust her niece's strength, but she was still worried. Auntie, rest assured. He's just a decaying transcendent Quasi-Emperor who hasn't fully recovered. He's the perfect whetstone for me, helping me get closer to the path of Quasi-Emperor. The heavenly dragon Empress said confidently. Furthermore, I will bring a supreme-grade weapon with me. Even if I can't defeat him, as long as I unleash the supreme-grade weapon, it will be enough to suppress and easily deal with the enemy. Upon hearing this, the beautiful woman relaxed her brows and looked at the heavenly dragon Empress with a relieved smile. If that's what you say, then I can rest assured. Sigh, if Tsang'er had your cautiousness and wisdom, he wouldn't have perished so early. She couldn't help but sigh. Don't worry, I will avenge Tsang'er. The heavenly dragon Empress nodded and said calmly. However, it was clear that she had no affection for this Tsang'er, as there was a hint of disgust in her expression. Boom! In the true Saint Continent, within the Azure Emperor's tomb, Su Changsheng and the others' transformation had reached its end. Several terrifying auras tore through the sky, shaking the void. We've broken through. Qingge opened her eyes. Chapter 82 Qingge is sanctified, beyond the immortal king, the future empress of the Sea clan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom! A terrifying holy aura erupted from Qingge's body, sweeping across the heavens and earth. She had finally achieved sainthood. After being reborn for several years, although it didn't go according to the original plan, she still successfully achieved sainthood. This was a leap in evolution of life. That exhilarating feeling was like breaking free from shackles, like a big fish escaping the constraints of the sea, transforming into a free-soaring rock. A sense of boundlessness surged in her heart. She almost wanted to look up to the sky and let out a long roar to vent her excitement and joy. However, Qingge still had concerns about her image, as the dignified empress. She had to maintain a cold and majestic demeanor. Therefore, Qingge did not vent her emotions. Instead, she calmly settled her emotions. Her dazzling eyes were filled with surging divine light, and the symbols of the great Tao were as radiant as the blazing sun. That kind of power was completely different from before. I have reached the fourth heaven of sainthood, and there is a large amount of holy essence and fragments of the great Tao hidden within my body. As long as I continue to refine them, my cultivation will continue to skyrocket until I reach the realm of the great saint. Qingge silently sensed her cultivation level and was very satisfied. This was the blessing of a great emperor. Once obtaining any one of them, one can soar to the sky and become the strongest in the world. However, Qingge will not easily break through. Instead, she constantly refines her foundation, comprehends the Tao, surpasses various extremes, and continues to surpass her previous life. She wants to walk the path of the strongest invincibility. If she indulges in the small power in front of her, she will only repeat her previous life. Even if she becomes an immortal, her achievements will not be too strong. In the realm of immortals, there is also a higher realm called the Immortal King. They are high above, overlooking all realms, almost eternal and indestructible. Qingge silently recited in her heart. In her previous life, she reached the peak of the great emperor, only one step away from the immortal path. She understood many secrets and knew that there were even more terrifying existences above immortals. They are called immortal kings. Such existences are the highest and strongest in the immortal path, and they can be called kings in the realm of immortals. She longed for such a realm in her previous life, but it was not unattainable. There was still hope. The reason she couldn't become an immortal was simply because she fell too early. If given enough time, she will definitely become an immortal. It is not impossible for her to become a king in an era. However, even immortal kings are not invincible and may also fall. Only by surpassing the immortal king can one reach the existence above the immortal king. The existence above the immortal king is called the true emperor. Only such a great existence can be truly immortal and eternal. In this life, I must walk this path. Qingge's eyes were bright and full of longing. This is also why she has always been persistent in taking the invincible path. Only by reaching the extreme in each realm can she have the possibility of success and transcendence. Boom. Just at this moment, on the side, Yan Ryu also broke through. Her momentum exploded, much stronger than Qingge. She is a true great saint realm. Yan Ryu herself is already hundreds of years old. She was already a saint king long ago, much stronger than Qingge. Now breaking through to great saint is a matter of course. Not only that, her bloodline has also become extremely pure, comparable to the strongest ancient prince and princess. Her azure lotus sacred body has also become more powerful. Combining the two, their potential is almost comparable to the top sacred bodies. Soon, Yan Ryu woke up. She fell from the sky, her bare jade feet stepping on the ground, her body pure white like jade, with exquisite curves, extremely beautiful, flawless, perfect to the extreme. However, compared to the previous ethereal and dreamlike feeling, there is now a hint of reality, as if there is a sense of fireworks. Qingge naturally understands what's going on. When she was cultivating, these two caused a huge commotion. Qingge could still hear Yan Ryu's pleasant crying sound, almost being disturbed. Congratulations, Qingge said in a flat tone, neither salty nor indifferent, causing Yan Ryu to be slightly stunned. Thank you, sister. Immediately, Yan Ryu spoke, with a respectful tone and a voice as clear and pleasant as music, sister. Hearing this title, Qingge's eyebrows slightly raised, and her dissatisfaction in her heart diminished a lot. Looking at Yan Ryu's eyes, she also became more pleasing to the eye, at least she is obedient. Qingge, Ryu, congratulations to both of you. Just as the two fell into silence, Su Changsheng's laughter came from the side. The two looked over and saw Su Changsheng walking towards them. His aura became even more terrifying, naturally pervading, like a true Quasi-Emperor. Such power made both women shocked. Changsheng, how is your cultivation? Qingge's slender eyelashes trembled slightly, very surprised, unable to help but ask. She finally reached the Saint Realm, but she wasn't very strong. As Su Changsheng's cultivation became more profound, she couldn't discern his true strength unless she made a move. However, Su Changsheng gave her a terrifying feeling, comparable to a Quasi-Emperor. Could it be that Su Changsheng possessed the strength comparable to a Quasi-Emperor even in the Great Saint Realm? Yan Ryu was also very curious. Her beautiful eyes blinked, and she looked at Su Changsheng with some shyness, as if recalling something from before, causing her cheeks to blush uncontrollably. To this day, it was still the first time she had blushed. In terms of strength in the Great Saint's sixth heaven, I can probably defeat an ordinary Quasi-Emperor if they dare to cause trouble. Su Changsheng chuckled lightly and modestly said. Hiss. Upon hearing this, not only Yan Ryu, but even Qingge gasped in shock and amazement. He really is a monster. Qingge shook her head in admiration. To achieve the kind of terrifying combat power that Su Changsheng possessed, one must have successfully embarked on the path of invincibility, becoming a monstrous monster. From the beginning, Su Changsheng had surpassed others by too much. This was the terror of the immortal physique. Alright, stop marveling. No matter how much of a monster I am still your husband. Su Changsheng said with a smile. Alright, there's nothing left for us here. We should leave. The Demon Emperor's blood pool and the Demon Emperor's heart had already been absorbed by them for the most part. The remaining portion would naturally be given to the other wives in the clan to help them break through and transform. Boom. Then, Su Changsheng took action and collected the Emperor's jar and the Azure Lotus Emperor weapon, and then left with the two women. We've seen the three highnesses. Outside the Imperial Palace, two great saints in green robes, along with several other powerful individuals, had been waiting here. When they saw the three of them, they all respectfully saluted. Please rise. Su Changsheng raised his hand and calmly said. The group of powerful individuals showed respectful expressions, implicitly acknowledging Su Changsheng as the son-in-law of the Azure Emperor lineage. Boom. Not long after, Su Changsheng and the others left, and the tomb of the Azure Emperor trembled violently and eventually collapsed and disappeared amidst the surging chaos energy. Azure Emperor's tomb disappeared without a trace. Seeing this scene, Yan Ryu and the others felt heavy-hearted and had complex expressions. At this moment, in the distant sky, a thunderous dragon roar suddenly resounded, shaking the entire True Saint continent. Countless cultivators were shocked and stunned by the spectacle in the sky. They saw a terrifying spatial rift spanning billions of miles appearing in the sky of True Saint continent. The space surged, followed by a terrifying dragon's might. A silver true dragon emerged from the rift. Its body was covered in blood, exuding a terrifying aura that tore through the sky for millions of miles. Eventually, it seemed unable to hold on any longer, and its massive silver dragon body rapidly shrank. Then, in the astonished eyes of Su Changsheng and the others, the silver dragon body turned into a ball of light and fell into Su Changsheng's arms at a speed surpassing light and time. The ball of light dissipated, revealing a pale and weak little dragon girl. She wore a dress that shimmered with blue and silver, with a flawless and delicate face like that of an innocent girl. There were a pair of silver dragon horns on her forehead, indicating her identity. However, her face was pale and her breath weak, as if she could die at any moment. What is this? A dragon girl falling from the sky? Su Changsheng was somewhat surprised. Are you cursed with peach blossom luck? How come you have girls throwing themselves at you on the road, and they are all peerless goddesses with noble identities? Qingge couldn't help but say, upon careful consideration, Su Changsheng had encountered so many peerless goddesses in just a few years, each with extraordinary talent or astonishing background. It was really frightening. For example, the one in front of him was the Dragon Clan Saintess of Sea God Palace, the future Silver Dragon Empress who would rule over the Thousand Seas Divine Domain, TSK, another female Emperor-grade character. Qingge secretly clicked his tongue, recognizing the identity of the woman in Su Changsheng's arms. She was none other than the future Empress of the Sea Clan, the ruler of the 9,000 Seas Divine Domain, although her status and position were not as high as hers. She was still terrifying enough, a true Emperor-grade powerhouse. Perhaps. Su Changsheng chuckled dryly, then asked the system in his mind, could it be that he was really the chosen one with a natural peach blossom physique? Chapter 83, Commit Yourself to Me, the great saint of the sea tribe has arrived, and Su Changsheng I. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The host does not possess such a constitution. It seems that the system did not expect such a thing to happen. After a moment of silence, it continued. Doesn't exist. Su Changsheng's mood was somewhat complicated. He looked at the petite dragon girl in his arms, her exquisite face adorned with a beautiful blue and silver skirt, her expression showing signs of pain. Could it be just good luck? Forget it, since she's come to us, let's save her and take her home while we're at it. Su Changsheng shook his head slightly, no longer thinking about this. According to the evaluation given by the system, this dragon girl is also a future empress, with a close to purple gold level destiny. Although she is not as powerful as Qingge, she is still extraordinary. How could he let go of such a dragon girl who has come to him? Coincidentally, if he saves her, it shouldn't be a problem for her to offer herself to him, right? What a pitiful and peerless beauty. Beside him, Yan Ryu also stepped forward, unable to help but praise. Her flawless face carried a sense of tenderness. Such a petite girl, she looks just like a younger sister. Don't underestimate her, she is a great saint. Su Changsheng shook his head and said softly. Upon hearing this, the strong individuals were very surprised. Such a young girl is also a great saint. However, considering the terrifying aura from earlier, as well as the true form of the silver dragon, it is not surprising. The true form of the silver dragon, could it be a powerful member of the Silver Dragon clan in the Sea God Palace? Yan Ryu speculated. There are many dragon forces in this world, and each clan is different. Some are known as the rulers of the sea, while others occupy the land, but they all share one characteristic. They are extremely powerful. The Silver Dragon clan is a dragon force within the Sea Clan. Not bad, it's the Silver Dragon clan of the Sea God Palace, and their status is quite high. I reckon they're being pursued by hostile forces. If we save her, it will bring us quite a bit of trouble, Qingge said at this moment, but she didn't directly reveal the identity of the Dragon Maiden. After all, as the Empress of Destiny Reborn, only Su Changsheng knows about it for now, and she doesn't want it to be exposed. Trivial trouble, we'll deal with it when the time comes. Let's go back. Su Changsheng said with a faint smile. He is not afraid of trouble. If there really is an assassin coming, then I'll take care of it easily. With his current strength, if he wants to render him completely defenseless, it would at least require the arrival of a great emperor. Otherwise, even with the help of 2 great emperor soldiers, he would still have the ability to fight. Qingge nodded. She also knew Su Changsheng's current strength and didn't need to worry about these things. He was more than capable. Soon, Su Changsheng and the others left this place and returned to Myriad Manifestation City. After arriving at the Su family, Su Changsheng immediately settled the dragon girl and used various elixirs, even the blood of a demon emperor, to heal her injuries. During this time, Qingge took Yan Ryu to visit the Su family and meet other sisters. It was at this time that Yan Ryu learned that Su Changsheng already had a wife and concubines, and even had 2 daughters. And several unborn children. However, she didn't mind. It was normal for such a powerful man to have some wives and concubines. As for the 2 great saints in green robes and several other strong individuals, Su Changsheng arranged for them to be in the Su family and commanded by Su Yun. Anyway, Yan Ryu was already his person. Her subordinates were also Su Changsheng's subordinates. It would be a waste not to use them, so they could also help promote the Su family. Two great saints. Upon learning that two great saints were following his command, Suyun was so happy that he almost fainted. With two great saints in hand, what force in the true saint continent could stop the Su family? Even if ancestor Changsheng didn't make a move, the Su family could sweep across the true saint continent and become completely invincible. Therefore, upon obtaining the assistance of two great saints and several other strong individuals, Suyun immediately began preparations to launch a comprehensive attack on many top-grade forces. He wants to unify the true saint continent. This is also Su Changsheng's order. Within a year, he wants to see the Su family become the overlord of the true saint continent. Regarding ancestor Changsheng's command, Suyun has always obeyed without question. Boom. In the following days, the Su family launched a large-scale attack on many forces, including the top-grade forces that had previously plundered resources from the Myriad Beast sect, for example, the Towering Void Sword sect. Naturally, the actions of the Su family also alarmed many top-grade forces. These forces began to unite and prepare to resist the Su family's attack. Boom. On this day, the Towering Void Sword sect was struck by a giant hand that covered the sky. The protective formation was shattered, and the vast holy power swept through, shaking the entire world. Su Jia stood in the air, with terrifying holy power surging from his body, and his body was covered in divine light. He seemed like a divine king descending from the heavens, with a cold gaze sweeping across the world, exuding a terrifying and majestic aura. This scene filled the disciples and experts of the sword sect with fear. Kill. Su Jia slowly uttered a word. Kill. Destroy the Towering Void Sword sect. Ha ha ha, a few years ago, you were still so arrogant. You dared to seize the resources of the Myriad Beast sect. Now it's time to pay the price. A group of powerful members of the Su family rushed forward. The sky was filled with figures, and there were countless soldiers and experts, far outnumbering the Towering Void Sword sect. It should be noted that after obtaining the terrifying resources from Su Changsheng, the Su family's number of experts increased tenfold or even 100-fold compared to before. In addition, Su Changsheng occasionally made a move to refine many divine objects and even fragments of the heavenly Tao to enhance the strength of the Su family's experts. It can be said that the overall strength of the Su family is stronger than that of ordinary ancient clans. They have over 1,000 experts in the everlasting realm, and the number of experts in the empty void and law manifestation realms is countless. Of course, no saint has been born yet. After all, becoming a saint is too difficult. Relying solely on resources, it is difficult to achieve in a short period of time and requires a lot of time. However, with Su Changsheng's high-end combat power and two great saints, it is more than enough. Su family, are you trying to exterminate us? In the ancestral land of the Sword sect, accompanied by a roar, 3 terrifying saint auras surged. All of them were the saint ancestors of the Towering Void Sword sect. When the Towering Void Sword sect faced a life-or-death crisis, they could no longer sit still. Originally, the Towering Void Sword sect had a hidden saint, making a total of 4 saints. However, one saint ancestor fell in the great saint's secret realm of the Demon Burial Valley. So now the Towering Void Sword sect only has 3 saints, and their strength has greatly declined. 3 brilliant sword lights slashed through the sky, overwhelming and carrying terrifying saint auras, aiming to kill all the strong members of the Su family. When a saint takes action, if there is no same-level strong opponent to stop them, it will be a one-sided massacre. Great, the ancestor has taken action. With 3 saint ancestors in our sword sect, we can definitely crush the strong members of the Su family. Damn it, the Su family has gone too far. With the saint ancestors taking action, our sword sect must counterattack and annihilate the Su family. In the sword sect, a group of elders and disciples saw this scene and showed joy one after another. Some radical disciples even shouted, "Elder Su Jia, please take action." In the Su family, a leading elder saw the situation and his expression suddenly changed. He shouted toward Su Jia, who had a cold and indifferent expression, resembling a divine king. The Su family only has one ancestor, Su Changsheng. As for the other strong members of the Su family, no matter how powerful they are only elders or the position of a leading elder. Boom. In the air, Su Jia had a cold and indifferent expression. His whole body was enveloped in divine light as a large hand descended, covering the heavens and earth. crushing the 3 saint sword lights in his palm, a terrifying aura far surpassing a saint and almost reaching the level of a saint king pressed down like a mountain torrent and swept across the heavens and earth. A half-step saint king. The Su family actually has such a powerful individual. Finished, that the 3 saint ancestors of the sword sect trembled in their hearts, a hint of fear flashing in their eyes. Although their strength was decent, they were only at the level of saint 5th or 6th heaven. Even if they joined forces and relied on the foundation of the towering void sword sect, they were still no match for a saint 9th heaven. When Su Changsheng came knocking on their door back then, they had 4 saint ancestors, plus their foundation, but they still didn't dare to fight against Su Changsheng, knowing that they might not be his match. Now, facing a half-step saint king with only the 3 of them left, it was even more impossible for them to be his opponents. A strong sense of despair surged up in their hearts. The sword sect with a heritage of nearly 100,000 years, is it going to be extinct in my hands? I am unwilling. Su family, even if I die, I will make you pay a price. Kill. That the 3 saint ancestors laughed bitterly, and then their faces turned fierce. They erupted with their strongest powers and even used the foundation of the towering void sword sect, attempting to make the Su family pay a price. At the very least, they wanted to kill some of the strong members of the Su family. Boom. Su Jie's expression was cold and indifferent. He directly confronted the 3 saint ancestors of the sword sect with a single hand, suppressing them. The heavens and earth boiled, within 100,000 miles of land, countless radiance soared into the sky, divine energy boiled, and billions of divine lights appeared, as if the gods were battling and ancient myths were descending. An extremely intense fluctuation swept over billions of miles, shaking countless powerful beings. Far away from the vast land, powerful beings, whether they were empty void or eternal, or occasionally a hidden saint, were all looking at this scene with shocked expressions. The towering void sword sect, which had a heritage of nearly 100,000 years and once approached the level of an ancient clan, had encountered its doom. Boom. After half a day, the terrifying commotion disappeared. The entire towering void sword sect had been destroyed, and many powerful beings were killed, including the elites and true disciples. However, the Su family ultimately did not completely exterminate them. The ordinary disciples were captured as slaves and made to work for the Su family. Only by accumulating enough merits could they obtain their freedom. From today onwards, the territory of the towering void sword sect will be taken over by the Su family. Those who do not submit will be annihilated. Su Jieding rose into the air, his gaze swept across the heavens and the earth, then he spoke, his voice shaking the land for millions of miles. The territories ruled by the towering void sword sect, countless forces and powerful individuals were filled with fear. No one harbored any illusions, and one by one, they chose to submit to the Su family. Soon, news of the destruction of the towering void sword sect spread rapidly throughout the entire True Saint continent, shocking countless forces and powerful individuals. No one expected that the Su family's methods would be so swift and terrifying. The strongest top-grade force, the towering void sword sect, was actually annihilated by the Su family in such a thunderous manner. For a while, the major top-grade forces were filled with fear. Some forces were preparing to flee with their resources, while others were preparing to submit to the Su family. The entire True Saint continent was thrown into chaos because of the Su family. It seems that the True Saint continent will soon be unified, and a powerful sacred clan is about to rise. That the old man with white beard from the extreme beginning sect stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the turbulent True Saint continent, his gaze complex as he couldn't help but sigh. Sacred clan. Beside him, the Tai Su ancestors' expression changed. This was a force on the same level as the sacred land, the Su family. Could it really become a sacred clan? However, thinking of Su Changsheng's monstrous performance, even the Tai Su ancestor, who was very self-confident, had to admit that the other party was indeed terrifying and heaven-defying. Once they ascended to the great saint realm, it was indeed possible for the Su family to ascend to become a sacred clan. A great saint has descended. At this moment, the white-bearded old man's expression suddenly changed, his gaze filled with shock as he looked towards the north of the True Saint continent. Great saint. Old man, could it be that the visitor is not friendly? The Tai Su ancestor also felt a chill in his heart upon seeing this. It must be known that in the past, the true Saint continent had also seen the arrival of great Saint powerhouses, but never before had there been a time that made the white-bearded old man lose his composure like this. Indeed, the visitor is not friendly, that the white-bearded old man couldn't help but smile bitterly. They have already annihilated 300 billion miles of living beings, to be precise. They were eaten. Note, the translation provided is a literal translation and may not capture the full meaning or context of the original text. What? 300 billion miles, Tai Su Lao Zu exclaimed. Even as a saint king, he was shocked by this number. How many living beings are there in 300 billion miles of land? To say that there are billions and billions is an understatement. Such a vast number of living beings, all devoured. Could it be that the great saint who descended is an extremely bloodthirsty beast race great saint? Only the strong of the beast race would enjoy devouring the flesh and blood of living beings like this. Wait, them? Could it be that there is not just one great saint? Tai Su Lao Zu was shocked and couldn't help but ask. That's right, not just one, but 4, all great saints of the Sea clan. It seems they want to devour all the living beings in the entire true saint continent. That the white-bearded old man's expression was grim, his mood heavy. The true saint continent is vast, spanning billions of miles, with numerous forces and countless living beings, but it cannot withstand the complete extinction of 300 billion miles. Moreover, the enemy's intention seems to be more than just stopping at 300 billion miles, but to devour the entire true saint continent. Such cruel methods, even the powerful figures of the demonic path rarely dare to do so. Daring to devour the living beings of a continent, this is something that will be pursued by the strong of the imperial court, and even a quasi-emperor might be dispatched. Old man, what should we do now? Are we just going to let them devour everything? Tai Su Lao Zu was anxious and hurriedly asked. There is only one way, notify Su Changsheng and the others, and then run away with people. That the white-bearded old man glanced at him and shook his head. And we are the same. Although this old man left the extreme beginning sect on his own and will be punished by the sacred land in the future, if we don't run away now, we will all die. Those Sea clan great saints are all peak experts among great saints. Unless a great saint overlord or a quasi-emperor descends, it is impossible to resist them. That the white-bearded old man sighed, his tone weak. If it were 1 or 2 ordinary great saints, he could still join forces with Su Changsheng to resist or even kill them. But with 4 peak great saints, the only choice is to run away, otherwise it would be death. For great saint peaks. Tai Su Patriarch's breath hitched, also startled by this terrifying lineup. No wonder the old man with white beard said that Qian Noa should run away. Wait, what is Su Changsheng trying to do? Is he seeking death? At this moment, the old man with white beard's expression changed again, as if he saw something, and said with some annoyance. No, I must go save him. That the old man with white beard's expression fluctuated, but quickly became determined. Tai Shi, what are you planning, old man? Tai Su Patriarch's gaze narrowed, feeling uneasy. Tai Su brat, you quickly take the disciples of the extreme beginning sect and leave now. I have to go save that Su Changsheng. How long has Miaoer been married? I can't let her become a widow. The old man with white beard glanced at him and instructed, then tore through the void and left directly. This time, his true body was in action, and he didn't care about the so-called sacred land prohibition. On the other side, far from the center of the true saint continent, in the vast land in the extreme north, 300 billion miles of land were now submerged by the surging waves, forming 10 vast marshlands. Looking from afar, the ocean of billions of miles rolled and easily stirred up terrifying waves tens of thousands of miles high. Countless palaces, cities, and even numerous buildings, races, sects, and tribes were all submerged. The creatures within had all been devoured, staining the vast sea red with blood. Roar! In the vast ocean, a terrifying blue shark surged out, with black and purple patterns on its body, extremely frightening, and its bloodlust was overwhelming. Soon, this shark burst out and transformed into a blue-haired man, his face filled with satisfaction. Delicious, it's been a long time since I've had such a satisfying meal. Human flesh and blood are truly the most delicious, that the blue-haired man laughed heartily. If it weren't for chasing after that dragon girl, I wouldn't have had this opportunity. Ha ha ha, this time I must have a hearty feast. Not only this continent, but also the other continents. I want to eat more great saints, that's the most delicious. In the past, we had to be cautious when eating some humans. If we ate a little too much, it would attract the Quasi-Emperors from the imperial court. Now, with His Highness guaranteeing for us, we don't have to fear the arrival of Quasi-Emperors. In the marshlands of the vast ocean, there were 3 terrifying sea creatures with extremely large and terrifying bodies, exuding the aura of great saint peaks. They laughed heartily. Chapter 84. The price is yourself, if you want to achieve the highest, is Changsheng the Reincarna. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The vitality of living beings is a special material in itself. Some magic cultivators and powerful beings from other races can consume the vitality of living beings to enhance their cultivation. Even human cultivators can improve their cultivation by consuming the flesh and blood of fierce beasts and rare species. However, it is rare for beings like the great saint of the Sea clan to devour the vitality of an entire continent, and it is strictly forbidden by powerful human cultivators. If there is large-scale slaughter, the strong from the imperial court or even a quasi-emperor will intervene directly to suppress and capture the culprits. Therefore, opportunities for large-scale devouring of living beings are actually quite rare, and usually only a few can be consumed discreetly or secretly. Haha, it seems that there are 1 or 2 great saints on this continent. I sense many powerful auras, all from human cultivators. They must be delicious. A huge sea fish soared into the air, appearing crimson with terrifying divine flames swirling around its body, dyeing the sea area a fiery red, like a sea of magma. It laughed heartily. This was the flame fish, a powerful race within the Sea clan, with a quasi-emperor presiding over them. It was the top-grade powerhouse of this clan, known as the Flame God Great Saint, ruling over a vast sea region. Not only that, I also sense the aura of the Dragon Maiden, the saintess of the Sea God Palace. She not only hasn't left this continent, but also hasn't concealed her own aura. It seems her luck is not good, and the person who saved her is a fool. Another massive creature soared into the air, a mysterious turtle with a powerful bloodline, partially belonging to the Black Tortoise clan. It also sneered. By the way, your highness still wants to kill Changsheng, right? It seems it was requested by the crown prince of the everlasting imperial court. It seems that Changsheng is also a saint of this continent. Ha ha ha, that's perfect. We'll take his head while we're at it. Perhaps we'll even receive a reward from the crown prince. The crown prince has already decided to support your highness in becoming the ruler of the 3,000 sea god domains. By then, we, as contributors, might even become quasi-emperors. These several sea clan great saints spoke successively. Alright, let's not waste any more time. Let's directly submerge the entire continent, kill the Dragon Maiden and Changsheng, swallow this continent, and then move on to other continents. The imposing blue-haired man from earlier spoke solemnly. Boom. In the next moment, several great saints made their moves one after another. Vast great saint auras erupted, and the surging waves rushed towards the entire true saint continent at an astonishing speed. In no time, the entire continent would be submerged. However, just as the great saints were about to make their move, on the other side, within Myriad Manifestation City, Changsheng raised his gaze and sensed the commotion here, or rather, he had vaguely sensed it before, but was interrupted by other things. Now that the matter has been dealt with, he finally realized the situation. Powerful great saint experts have descended, and not just one, but several great saints, with a menacing aura and ill intentions. Cough, cough, cough. At this moment, a violent coughing sound came. On the bed, the Dragon Maiden's face was pale as she woke up, coughing dryly. Her breath circulated, much better than before. The reason Changsheng was interrupted was because he was delayed in healing the Dragon Maiden. He initially thought it was just a simple serious injury, but when he truly made a move, Changsheng realized that the Dragon Maiden's injuries were not simple. They were true injuries to the Great Tao. severe enough to tear her primordial spirit. If it was delayed, the dragon maiden would become crippled, and it would be extremely difficult for her to recover. Changsheng immediately treated her injuries and used divine items he obtained from the Azure Emperor, such as top-grade ancient holy medicine and even a semi-divine medicine. There were also other divine items, and so on. All of these combined consumed nearly half of them, barely repairing most of the Dao injuries. Am I still alive? The dragon maiden opened her eyes in a daze, her consciousness still lingering from the moment she lost consciousness. Based on her injuries and condition, even if she didn't die, she was at least in a dying state. Why does she feel like she's still fine? Wait. When she thought of her dangerous situation, the dragon maiden's heart trembled. She thought she had been captured and was about to unleash her power to escape from here, but the next second, a force far surpassing her pressed down on her. Wait, it was me who saved you. You're fine now. As for the situation, stay here for now and I'll explain it to you after I handle things. Changsheng's voice came, his tone calm but faintly revealing a hint of coldness. It wasn't directed at the dragon maiden, but at those several great saints from the Sea clan. He had already seen everything through his divine sense. 3 billion lives were annihilated. Even with Changsheng's temperament, a surge of anger rose within him at this moment. These few Sea clan great saints must die. Who are you? The dragon maiden was shocked. Such immense power completely surpassed the great saint realm. Could it be a Quasi-Emperor? But why didn't she sense the pressure of a Quasi-Emperor? Boom! Before the dragon maiden could react, Changsheng's figure had already disappeared, leaving behind only the disheveled dragon maiden in the wind. What is going on? Is there no one to explain it to her specifically? If you are confused, I can explain it to you and tell you the price you will have to pay. At this moment, a cold voice came from outside the door. Qingge walked in from outside, still immature and somewhat naive, with a beautiful face that exuded a sense of majesty. What price? Seeing Qingge, the dragon maiden instinctively shrank back, a trace of fear appearing on her small face, as if she had remembered a familiar figure, but quickly realized it wasn't that person. She gathered her courage and asked. The price is you. Me? Yes, it's you, yourself. You are the price. Qingge gave a cold smile. The smile was somewhat chilling, causing the dragon maiden to shudder instinctively. Her current situation seems to be in a bit of a predicament. Why does it feel like she just left the wolf's den and entered the tiger's lair? Could it be that the other party wants to devour her? It is said that the human clan is very skilled in refining tools and practicing alchemy. Could it be that they want to flay her and extract her tendons, and then use them for refining tools and practicing alchemy? Boom! On the other side, Changsheng tore through the void, strolling through the vast space channel, reducing the distance by billions of miles. Saint-level experts can tear through space and move in higher dimensions, covering millions of miles in an instant with a flick of their fingers. Therefore, even though the true Saint continent is vast, for Changsheng, it was just a few steps away, and he quickly arrived. Before moving forward, he used his divine sense to perceive the situation in that world, his expression turning cold. 3 billion miles of a prosperous country, with broken land and buildings everywhere, and countless blood staining the sea. In addition, there were conversations among several great saints, shamelessly treating the living beings of the true Saint continent as food. Your Highness. Crown Prince. Changsheng's eyes flickered, and he quickly understood that this was the opponent of the 9th princess. This crown prince should have set up a trap to kill the 9th princess, but it was disrupted, so the target turned to him. As for that Your Highness, he should be the enemy of the dragon princess, and incidentally wanted to kill him. Very well, the identities of the enemies have been clarified. Next, it's time to collect some interest. Boom. Soon, the void shattered, and a domain gate appeared. Changsheng walked out of it and appeared in front of several great saints of the Sea clan, with a majestic aura permeating the surroundings. Wearing a starry robe, unparalleled in beauty, he seemed like an immortal king who had come from the immortal realm. Every move he made contained boundless Tao rhyme. He could be called peerless elegance. A great saint. Ha ha ha, it seems we have a righteous great saint who can't stand the way we do things. A human powerhouse, the flesh and blood of human great saints is the most delicious, containing immense energy and principles. It's a pity there are so few, not enough to share, that the great saints of the Sea clan were initially stunned, ready to unleash their divine abilities that could engulf the entire continent. However, they didn't care and instead burst into laughter, because they sensed Su Changsheng's cultivation level, which was only at the 6th level of the Great Saint realm. In their eyes, this level of cultivation was nothing more than a gift. Wait, you're Su Changsheng. How is that possible? Weren't you just a Saint King? The blue-haired man from earlier exclaimed in disbelief, his eyes fixed on Su Changsheng, looking very surprised. According to the intelligence, the opponent was just a Saint King. How long has it been since then? He has already reached the 6th heaven of the Great Saint level. This kind of improvement speed is too terrifying. No, it's very likely that the opponent has hidden their cultivation level, which caused the intelligence to be wrong. What? The other person is Su Changsheng. Not a Saint King. But a powerful great saint at the 6th heaven. The opponent must have hidden their cultivation level. It's impossible for them to have broken through to Great Saint in such a short time. Yes, no matter what the situation is, a mere Great Saint at the 6th heaven, any one of us can easily tear him apart, let alone the 4 of us working together. That the other 3 Great Saints from the Sea clan were also somewhat shocked, but they quickly calmed down, showing no concern, their voices filled with bloodlust. No more nonsense, kill him. That the blue-haired man felt somewhat uneasy in his heart and decided to decisively make a move to kill Su Changsheng. Good, that the 3 great saints from the Sea clan also transformed into human forms and all rushed forward. The 4 peak-level great saint auras erupted, directly pressing towards Su Changsheng. Don't like to waste words, huh? Perfect, I'm also too lazy to say more. I'll send you on your way. Su Changsheng's expression was cold as well. He raised his hand and pointed. Above the 9 heavens, the boundless galaxy was pulled, and the vast starlight fell, turning into a galaxy. Although he had many methods, he still liked to use the power of the stars the most. This was the title he initially made for himself, Boom. The stars revolved, an immensely terrifying momentum swept out, starlight fell, shaking the boundless void, the entire continent, and even the surrounding areas. Countless continents were alarmed. What? Not a great saint, but an overlord? No, so powerful, even stronger than an overlord. Is this a Quasi-Emperor? The 4 great saint of the Sea clan were also terrified. The terrifying momentum of the 4 of them combined was torn apart in an instant, and the dazzling starlight fell, shattering their aura. Every rotating star emitted the aura of a great saint, as if there were thousands of them, and the momentum was comparable to that of a Quasi-Emperor. What kind of monster is this? Boom! Su Changsheng's face was cold, and with just a lift of his hand, the starry sky crashed down, as if thousands of great saints were attacking together, causing gods and demons to roar and all gods to tremble. No, that the 4 peak great saints roared in anger, struggling to resist, but in the face of these thousands of stars, they were nothing more than ants, being smashed by the stars and spitting out blood. Boom! 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 One by one, the great saints were forced to reveal their true forms, and terrifying sea beasts roared, but the situation became even more miserable, because their bodies were too large. Under the falling of thousands of stars and the imprisonment of space, they couldn't avoid it at all, and could only endure the crazy bombardment of the stars, crushing their physical bodies and primordial spirits. In the end, they were smashed to death. This was also intentional on Su Changsheng's part. If he wanted to kill them, he could have done it with a single palm. The reason for this move was to make them endure endless pain, in order to repay the blood debt of billions of living beings. After killing the 4 great saints of the Sea clan, Su Changsheng looked at the endless marshland in the 300 billion miles, sighed lightly, and then waved his hand, surging divine power wiping out this sea area. Soon, the land reappeared, but it was a barren land for billions of miles, devoid of human presence. If one wanted to restore it, it would take tens of thousands of years. This is the cruelty of the fantasy world, and this is just a small corner of it. Changsheng looked at the desolate land and silently thought to himself, in ancient records, there were even more tragic deeds than this, one could say they were countless, in a distant era, before the rise of the human race and without the presence of powerful individuals, the situation was even more dark, known as the Darkest Era. To avoid becoming a stepping stone and falling into such a fate, one must become stronger, become an emperor, become an immortal, or even surpass immortality and reach the invincible realm of ancient and modern times. Changsheng sighed deeply, then glanced at the void on the other side before turning away. After a while, the void split open and an old man with white beard walked out, wearing a bitter smile on his face. He looked at the desolate land and recalled the scene he had witnessed. Earlier, still filled with shock and disbelief, he never expected that Changsheng's strength would be so terrifying. It could even be comparable to a Quasi-Emperor. Before this, Changsheng was only a saint king, and although it was impressive to kill a half-step great saint with a single sword, it was still within the realm of understanding, but in such a short period of time, he not only became a great saint, but also easily killed 4 peak great saints with a wave of his hand. This kind of heaven-defying progress, if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, the old man with white beard would never believe it. Now thinking back, the aura of the great saint overlord he sensed before must have been Changsheng. Changsheng is definitely not a normal genius. Could it be that he is the reincarnation of an ancient great emperor who defied the heavens and returned? That the old man with white beard silently pondered in his heart. Such a situation has occurred before. According to ancient records, there were great emperors who defied the heavens and reincarnated through various means, then after a long period of time, they would revive themselves. Not only did they regain their own strength, but they even further achieved the path of immortality. Changsheng should be the reincarnation of a great emperor who defied the heavens and gradually regained his power. That's why his strength has improved so rapidly in such a short period of time. It seems that I made the right decision. That the old man with white beard felt somewhat fortunate. He had been decisive and invested in Changsheng, marrying his daughter to him. Now it seems that this decision was correct. However, I have been a bit presumptuous this time, breaking the prohibition of the sacred land on my own. I'm afraid I will be severely punished. That the old man with white beard said helplessly, but despite his words, he had a smug smile on his face. His descendants have married a good man. When Changsheng recovers his peak strength and regains his great emperor power, the everlasting heaven realm will once again have a behemoth. At that time, even the extreme beginning sacred land would have to bow down before Changsheng. Humph, the day of my comeback is not far away. That the old man with white beard hummed a song and quickly returned to the extreme beginning sect. However, as soon as he returned, he was dumbfounded, because the entire sect was empty, with no one left. Oh no, I was too confident earlier. Tai Su has already taken the disciples of the sect and fled. That the old man with white beard smiled bitterly. He didn't know whether to praise Tai Su for being obedient and decisive, or to curse him for being ruthless. Never mind, let's inform him to come back. That with Changsheng, the future great emperor, guarding the true saint continent, there shouldn't be any risks, and just as several great saints from the sea tribe fell, in the distant sea god domain, within a vast dragon palace, a terrifying black dragon opened its eyes. A nearly Quasi-Emperor level aura surged, causing the endless sea to churn. They're all dead. The operation failed. That the eyes of the black dragon flickered, feeling somewhat surprised and annoyed that such a small matter had failed. It doesn't matter, I'm about to break through. Once I succeed, control the dragon-patterned black gold cauldron, and with the help of the Quasi-Emperors, I will definitely take down the sea god palace. The black dragon muttered to itself, boom. Immediately, it closed its eyes, and its terrifying aura continued to rise. It was only a short distance away from becoming a Quasi-Emperor. On the other side, in the Kunlun divine domain, this was a divine domain located on the edge of the everlasting imperial court's influence, adjacent to the Ji Shui Emperor court. This divine domain was very special because it possessed a terrifying power that even the imperial court had to be wary of. Its name was the Kunlun Holy Temple. Disciple, I beg His Majesty the Golden Emperor to take action. I am willing to exchange the news of the extreme Dao Emperor weapon, the Tianping halberd. Outside the Kunlun Holy Temple, a middle-aged man knelt down and pleaded. It was none other than the heavenly Azure King. Chapter 85, The Deceived Dragon Girl Has the Entire Sea God Palace Married? You are listening at novelfull.audio. King Tianzong knelt on the ground. This proud and powerful great saint is a top-grade existence of the golden-winged Peng clan. At this moment, he is kneeling on the ground, speaking in a pleading tone. In front of him, a majestic and incomparable palace stands tall, vast beyond imagination, towering into the boundless clouds and mist. It can be seen that stars are revolving around it. Rather than calling it a palace, it is more like a vast world. Around a palace, powerful figures stand tall. Their eyes emit different lights, all exuding a terrifying aura, with each one being no weaker than King Tianzong. Some of these powerful beings have even reached the pinnacle of the heavenly saint realm. This is the palace of the Golden Emperor lineage, and they are the subordinates and followers of the Golden Emperor. Originally, this group of powerful beings looked cold and indifferent, with a mocking expression, wanting to see a joke from King Tianzong. Although King Tianzong is a member of the golden-winged Peng clan, his status is not high. In his early years, he was even marginalized and went to establish something called the Celestial Beast Palace in a remote place outside. In their eyes, this is simply ridiculous. Now, not only is he unable to survive there, but he also comes back in a dejected manner, wanting to ask for the help of Emperor Golden. This is simply a pipe dream. However, when King Tianzong mentioned the news of the extreme Dao Emperor weapon, the heavenly Peng halberd, one by one, the great saint powerhouses were shocked. What? The heavenly Peng halberd? The ancestor of our golden-winged Peng clan, the great celestial rock great emperor's emperor weapon? Tianzong actually knows about the emperor weapon. No wonder he dares to ask for Emperor Golden's help. The news of the extreme Dao Emperor weapon, if His Majesty obtains it, he will definitely be able to claim the position of the Holy Palace and become a palace lord. That the eyes of these powerhouses are shining brightly, intense and radiant like scorching suns. When their gaze falls, it carries an immense pressure. If it weren't for this being the palace of the Golden Emperor, King Tianzong would probably be crushed by these gazes, but even so, he is sweating profusely, feeling a tremendous pressure. Boom. At this moment, in the vast and boundless palace, a vast and boundless aura permeates, as if a terrifying and boundless creature has awakened. The heavens and earth tremble, and countless roars resound. Many great saint powerhouses present, including King Tianzong, all sense an incredibly terrifying aura, their bodies trembling, and their minds trembling. This is an involuntary fear. Even just a trace of Quasi-Emperor's aura can make a group of great saints tremble in fear. Tianzong, if you deceive me, it will be a capital offense. Your entire lineage will be wiped out. A majestic voice resounded, as if coming from the heavens, causing the void to tremble. The divine chains of order in the great Tao emitted a radiant light, as if this voice had triggered them. Disciple dare not deceive His Majesty the Golden Emperor. Every word I speak is true. Tianzong Wang lowered his head, filled with fear and unease. Speak, who should be killed? In consideration of the face of the heavenly Peng halberd, apart from the Quasi-Emperor, even the great saint overlords, I can personally kill them for you. The majestic voice continued. Upon hearing this, the hearts of the group of powerful great saints trembled. It must be known that the Lord of the Holy Palace was not simple. This existence not only possessed immense strength, but also represented a terrifying identity and background. At the very least, there was a Quasi-Emperor supporting them. Now, it was only news about the heavenly Peng halberd. His Majesty was willing to take action, even if it meant killing a great saint overlord. This surprised them greatly, and they couldn't help but envy Tianzong Wang. If they could truly obtain the heavenly Peng halberd, Tianzong Wang would also gain the attention of His Majesty, and his status would skyrocket. Your Majesty, the person's name is Su Changsheng, from the Chaos Kun divine domain and the true saint continent. He is at the Saint King realm, but possesses the strength to kill great saints. Your disciple cannot kill him, so I can only ask Your Majesty to take action, Tianzong Wang said. At first, he hesitated to use such important information to exchange for the Golden Emperor's intervention, but in the end, he made up his mind. After all, he couldn't obtain the heavenly Peng halberd. If he forcefully took it, he might be suppressed instead, and he alone was not a match for Su Changsheng. He couldn't kill him at all. In that case, it would be better to exchange the information and ask a Quasi-Emperor to take action. The Golden Emperor was one of the overlords of the Golden Winged Peng clan. Tian Songwang had also studied here before, so naturally, he thought of asking this Quasi-Emperor for help. The Golden Winged Peng clan also had other Quasi-Emperors, and even Supremes. They had once produced many great emperors, but the ancestral land of the Golden Winged Peng clan was too far away in other heavenly realms. Boom. Just as the Heavenly Azure King finished speaking, a force that was many times more terrifying than before suddenly erupted, sweeping through the heavens and earth, causing the entire palace to violently tremble. Above the 9 heavens, countless stars and constellations were being pulled, and the starry realms and seas were constantly trembling. Under this surging power, they were on the verge of collapsing. All the great saints were filled with fear. This time, even the primordial spirit was trembling violently, as if being torn apart by 1,000 knives, enduring intense pain, almost on the verge of collapse, unable to catch their breath. Everyone was shocked, including the Heavenly Azure King. They didn't understand why they had provoked the wrath of the mighty Emperor Qingge. Su Changsheng. In the palace, a majestic voice resounded. It was more like talking to himself than conversing with them, and there was a hint of killing intent in his tone. This made everyone's hearts turn cold. What on earth was happening? What's wrong with Emperor Qingge? His temper is unexpectedly so fierce, and the commotion has reached here. Well, I have received some news. It seems that his son has gone with the successor of the Azure Emperor to search for the Azure Emperor's tomb, but they have yet to return, and he is so furious. Hehe. I see, it seems that he had high hopes for that Qingge. TSK. Serves him right. He dared to have ill intentions towards the successor of the Azure Emperor. He deserves this calamity. In other parts of the Kunlun Holy Palace, the ancient temples, mountains, and the heavens and earth, the other Quasi-Emperors were also alarmed, some surprised, some sneering. Boom. In the palace, a figure walked out, surrounded by divine light, with 3,000 divine fires swirling around him, like 3,000 divine kingdoms, transmitting the chanting of the gods. He was extremely majestic, wearing a golden robe embroidered with the heavenly Peng, true dragon, and the sun and moon, representing yin and yang. His eyes were even sharper, like a heavenly blade that could erupt with terrifying sharpness at any moment, cutting through the great Tao and tearing apart the universe. Greetings, Emperor Qingge. But when they saw that figure appear, all the great saints disregarded their fear and pain, kneeling down in awe, and even the Heavenly Azure King was filled with immense fear. He didn't understand what he had said wrong to provoke the wrath of Emperor Qingge. Su Changsheng, do you know what he has done? The Golden Emperor spoke, his gaze falling on the Taizong King, almost tearing him apart. Even the great saint's physical body was crumbling, and this was still a gaze without murderous intent. The Taizong King's face twisted in pain, but he suppressed it, and said with difficulty, "He killed my son, Qingge, who fell into his hands. In addition, he destroyed a strand of my divine consciousness." The Golden Emperor said in a calm voice. What? Upon hearing this, a group of great saints were shocked, all of them dumbfounded, especially the Taizong King, who couldn't believe it. Su Changsheng not only killed the Golden Emperor's son, but also took control of a strand of divine consciousness. That was the divine consciousness of a Quasi-Emperor, containing the power of a Quasi-Emperor. Even if it was just a strand, it was enough to suppress a great saint overlord. As a result, Su Changsheng actually suppressed it. At this moment, the Taizong King was very grateful that he had come to seek the help of the Golden Emperor. Otherwise, he would never have been able to avenge his son, and he might have been killed by Su Changsheng. However, he suppressed my divine consciousness not with his own strength, but with the power of an emperor weapon. The Golden Emperor continued, ignoring the dumbfounded crowd, as if they had been scared silly. Originally, I planned to slowly deal with him and seize his emperor weapon. After all, with the extreme Tao emperor weapon in his hands, I might not be able to defeat him. But since you have brought news of the Tianping halberd, why don't you take me to find the Tianping halberd? With an emperor weapon in hand, a great saint ant can be killed with a wave of my hand. The Golden Emperor said in a calm tone. Yes, the Taizong King trembled and said in a low voice. Su Changsheng. The Golden Emperor muttered to himself, his gaze shifting, looking towards the Chaos Kun divine domain, his killing intent chilling. He didn't really care about the death of Qingge. As a Quasi-Emperor, his lifespan was extremely long. If one offspring died, there were still others. What really made him want to kill Su Changsheng was the Extreme Dao Emperor weapon that Su Changsheng possessed, an Extreme Dao Emperor weapon. If he can obtain and master it, then even in the vast everlasting heaven realm, he can go wherever he pleases, even if he encounters a supreme, as long as the other party doesn't have an Emperor weapon, he can retreat unscathed. Moreover, if he adds the Tianping halberd, with 2 Emperor weapons in hand, he will be able to integrate and rule over the Kunlun Holy Temple, reaching a terrifying peak of power. Creating a new imperial court and becoming a great emperor is not an impossible thing. Let's go. But the Golden Emperor didn't hesitate and immediately said to the Taizong king. Soon, their figures disappeared and left this place. The group of great saints finally breathed a sigh of relief, relaxing from the pressure of the Quasi-Emperor, their eyes filled with lingering fear. The Quasi-Emperor is too terrifying. As giants in their own right, they are no different from ants in the face of such existence. However, although the Golden Emperor left, they didn't have the courage to secretly spread the news of the Emperor weapon. The anger of the Quasi-Emperor is no joke. On the other side, the Su family. Su Changsheng, if you want this saintess to marry you, you must at least go to the Sea God Palace and present a betrothal gift to this saintess. Otherwise, this saintess will never agree. As soon as Su Changsheng returned, he was met with the arrogant words of the Dragon Lady, looking at the Dragon Lady with her blushing face, arms crossed, and an incredibly arrogant tone. Su Changsheng fell silent. He remembered that he hadn't been away for long, right? From dealing with a few great saints of the Sea clan to coming back, it didn't seem like even a moment had passed. Why does it feel like it's been a long time? Did he just get her for free? Thinking like this, Su Changsheng turned his head and looked at Qingge, who was calmly drinking tea and had a cold expression, his eyes showing a questioning look. What's going on? Don't worry, I've already taken care of her for you. There's no problem with going straight to the bridal chamber tonight. Seeing Su Changsheng's puzzled expression, Qingge waved her hand lazily and said, don't worry about it. During the time Su Changsheng was away, she had used various means to intimidate and deceive the Dragon Princess. First, she claimed to be the Empress of a past life, and then she used the pressure of an Emperor weapon to frighten the Dragon Princess, leaving her in a state of panic and confusion. But Qingge knew that although the Dragon Princess appeared to have high cultivation, she was actually quite naive and only a teenager. No flowers please. The reason she had such strong cultivation was because the bloodline and inheritance of the Silver Dragon clan were special, allowing descendants to inherit a portion of their ancestors' cultivation. Afterwards, Qingge also explained the crisis facing the Sea God Palace. If she didn't marry Su Changsheng, the Sea God Palace would be destroyed, and the Silver Dragon clan would be wiped out. Under the combination of persuasion, intimidation, and Su Changsheng's life-saving grace, the Dragon Princess was directly frightened and agreed in a daze. In fact, she wasn't just making things up. If they didn't intervene, the Sea God Palace would be destroyed by the powerful forces of the Eastern Dragon Palace and the Emperor's Court, and the Silver Dragon clan of the Sea God Palace would suffer heavy casualties. Such a tragic event naturally deeply affected the Dragon Princess, causing her personality to undergo a drastic change and leading her to embark on the path of ruling the 9,000 Sea God realms as the Empress. And also, you have to help the Sea God Palace, otherwise Sea God sister and Dragon Ancestor sister will be in great danger. The Dragon Princess approached, grabbing Su Changsheng's clothes, tears welling up in her eyes. I can let you marry Sea God sister and Dragon Ancestor sister. There are many beautiful sisters in the Sea God Palace, you can marry all of them. Su Changsheng was a bit dumbfounded. Not only was he being given away for free, but now he was also being offered Sea God sister and Dragon Ancestor sister. And they even threw in the entire Sea God Palace as a bonus? How many people were there in total? But, this seemed quite exciting. Wait. Su Changsheng's gaze sharpened, and he quickly snapped out of his daze, his mind spinning as he recalled the conversation between the great saints of the Sea clan. A thought crossed his mind. could it be that in the future, Sea God Palace was destroyed by that prince? Looking at the anxious and somewhat incoherent dragon maiden, and thinking about Qingge's rebirth as the Empress of Destiny, Changsheng couldn't help but laugh and cry. This dragon maiden was probably deceived by the Empress, but Changsheng couldn't just let go of this opportunity that had fallen into his lap. Leaving aside everything else, the Sea Empress and the dragon ancestor must have extraordinary constitutions. He must capture them. Don't worry, I agree to your conditions, but give me some time. That with this in mind, Changsheng grabbed the dragon maiden's small hand, feeling its softness and smoothness, and chuckled lightly. There were still many things to deal with in the true Saint continent. Not only did he need to unify the continent, but there were also many hidden enemies that needed to be dealt with first. In addition, Su Ziyuan was about to give birth. He had to wait for the child to be born before making any decisions. That the dragon maiden was taken aback. Then she felt Changsheng's palm and her face immediately turned red, but then she thought of the crisis in Sea God Palace and became anxious again. Don't worry, Sea God Palace is fine for now. It will be some time before the Eastern Dragon Palace makes a move. At this moment, Qingge's voice came from the side, lazily speaking. That prince of the Eastern Dragon Palace is currently undergoing inheritance and breaking through the Quasi-Emperor realm. It is estimated that it will take another 2 or 3 years. There's no rush now. After we finish dealing with things here, it won't be too late to hurry over. Oh, okay. Upon hearing this, the dragon maiden was a little dazed, then she let go of her small hand, behaving obediently, and seemed to be somewhat afraid of Qingge. Now that you understand, come over and give me a shoulder massage. From now on, you are our youngest sister. Qingge waved her hand. Oh, the dragon girl obediently approached and carefully massaged Qingge's shoulders. So obedient Qingge smiled slightly, pinched the dragon girl's fair and tender face, and then gave Changsheng a triumphant look. Changsheng's face was full of black lines as he watched this scene. However, he had to admit that Qingge indeed had her ways, leaving the dragon girl dumbfounded. Since that's the case, give me a shoulder massage too. Changsheng also approached and sat beside them, smiling as he ordered the dragon girl. Woo-woo. The dragon girl's mournful cry rang out. In the following period of time, Changsheng also married the dragon girl, successfully capturing this confused and somewhat naive and willful dragon girl. On their wedding night, the clumsy dragon girl bit him a few times and burst into tears. It took him a long time to console her. But as a price, he naturally teased her for a long time. In the following period of time, the Su family launched a full-scale campaign, coupled with the 2 great saints, and true Saint continent completely fell. All forces gave up resistance, including some top-grade forces that were planning to escape, who were dumbfounded in front of the 2 great saints. They all surrendered without resistance. With almost no effort, the Su family took control of the entire true Saint continent, with only the extreme beginning sect dividing a small portion of the territory and remaining independent. However, everyone knew that the extreme beginning sect no longer had the qualifications to influence the true Saint continent. In the present true Saint continent, the Su family was the overlord. Their power was so strong that it shook the entire Chaos Kun divine domain, causing even the sacred land to take notice. The 2 great saints were powerful enough that even the sacred land couldn't ignore them. Ding! Congratulations to the host for increasing the strength of the family. Chapter 86 Reward Golden Dragon of Luck, Mother Qi of All Matter Cauldron, has a desolate ancient saw. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding! Congratulations to the host for increasing the family's strength, prestige, and territory. You have officially become an ancient clan. According to the comprehensive score, you will be rewarded with an ancient clan gift package. Would you like to claim it? A cold mechanical sound rang out. Changsheng's finger paused, a slight smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Ancient clan, ruling over a large continent, known as the Overlord. The Su family has now reached the level of an ancient clan in terms of power and has long obtained the ancient clan token bestowed by the 9th princess. The conditions have been met. After the ancient clan, there is the sacred clan, expanding the influence of the clan throughout the divine realm, even radiating into many other divine realms. With many esteemed great saints, the current Su family, their high-end combat power can easily rival some sacred clans, but they are still lacking in the middle level, lacking a large number of saints and saint kings to preside over. It will take some time to accumulate. System, claim the gift package, he said in his heart. Ding, the ancient clan gift package is being opened. You have obtained the Golden Dragon of Luck, which integrates into the Su family's luck and can rival the top-tier sacred land luck. The breakthrough, enlightenment, opportunities, and birth rate of outstanding disciples in the clan will greatly increase, with a certain chance of giving birth to divine bodies and sacred bodies. Golden Dragon of Luck. Su Changsheng's heart trembled, showing a look of astonishment. This is not simple, it can even be called heaven-defying. In this world, there is the concept of luck. Those with strong luck are like the children of destiny, able to encounter law treasures just by walking, comprehend and break through realms with a little cultivation, and obtain great opportunities in secret realms. It can be considered as cheating. People like Qingge are those with great luck, with a purple gold destiny, which in a sense is a purple gold level luck, second only to the 9 colors, destiny's top grade luck, and the golden dragon of luck, according to the system's explanation, is equivalent to the top-tier luck of a golden destiny. Generally speaking, only the top-tier sacred lands, such as the sacred land of chaos and the everlasting imperial court, emperor-grade forces, can condense into a golden dragon of luck. If the Su family possesses a golden dragon of luck, their luck will be comparable to that of an emperor-grade force, with limitless potential. Even if Su Changsheng does not become an emperor clan in the future, there is a great probability. Incantation. At this moment, a dragon's roar resounded. Su Changsheng looked over and saw a boundless curtain of light reflected in the void. In the midst of it, a colossal golden dragon was swimming. The golden dragon was majestic, and between its shimmering eyes, there was a sacred and noble aura that inspired awe and reverence. Golden Dragon of Luck. Su Changsheng's gaze focused, instantly understanding that the true form of this golden dragon was the embodiment of luck. Moreover, this golden dragon of luck was incredibly powerful, emanating the aura of a Quasi-Emperor. If an enemy were to attack the Su family and they faced the danger of annihilation, the golden dragon of luck would intervene and exterminate the enemy. Of course, if the enemy was too strong, there would be nothing it could do. Go, the golden dragon meandered, its eyes looking toward Su Changsheng, as if waiting for orders. Su Changsheng nodded. Boom! In the next second, the golden dragon of luck burst out from the boundless curtain of water, charging straight towards the sky, winding through the entire True Saint continent. Its massive body covered the entire continent. Boundless golden light shimmered, illuminating countless time and space. Countless divine radiance and purple energy shone brilliantly for thousands of miles. Such an astonishing phenomenon naturally alarmed the entire continent. However, when they looked up, they couldn't see the massive golden dragon of luck at all. They could only see endless anomalies, their faces filled with astonishment and doubt. What kind of phenomenon is this? What has that person done again? Moreover, why do I suddenly feel that the luck of the Su family has greatly expanded? Within the extreme beginning sect, an old man with white beard wore a puzzled expression as he looked at the phenomenon that reflected the entire True Saint continent, shocked in his heart. Even if they were powerful great saints, without possessing some top-notch means, such as the ability to observe Qi, they would not be able to see the existence of the golden dragon of luck. However, to some extent, they could still sense the presence of some luck in the world, and at this moment, the white-bearded old man sensed a tremendous surge of luck from the countless anomalies in the sky, and its source was none other than the Su family. This discovery shocked the old man with white beard, because the way of luck is too elusive. Like causality and destiny, only the top experts in the heavenly secret can explore and enhance it. Could it be that someone is retrieving the power of their past life, causing the Su family's luck to skyrocket? That the old man with white beard speculated in his heart. However, he also understood that great emperor experts were too profound, and it was not surprising for them to have extraordinary means. Even if there were extraordinary means to enhance luck, it would be normal. The Su family is really lucky to have such an ancestor. They are destined to soar and may even become an emperor clan. That the old man with white beard shook his head, full of envy, but soon he revealed a smug smile. But I'm not bad either. I've already married Miaoer to that person in advance. Since guessing Su Changsheng's identity, the old man with white beard automatically associated him with the existence of a great emperor, naturally not daring to call his name directly, but using the term that person. Golden Dragon of Luck. Within the Su family, countless members were also alarmed, but they didn't know what was going on. Only Empress Qingge, her beautiful eyes widened in shock, as she performed her technique. A majestic aura filled the air. In a trance, one could see an empress who reigned for eternity and pushed aside all opposition. That was the fragment of her primordial spirit from her past life, containing a portion of its greatness. At this moment, under the power of the primordial spirit fragment from her past life, Qingge could see a majestic golden dragon emitting overwhelming luck. Its imposing aura was enough to make even a Quasi-Emperor tremble. That was the golden dragon of luck. Boom. Under Qingge's astonished gaze, the golden dragon of luck meandered in the sky, then swung its tail and roared as it descended towards the Su family, finally entering it. In that instant, all the members of the Su family, including Qingge, felt their minds clear, and their primordial spirits became even more lucid and transparent, as if they had gained enlightenment. All the previously incomprehensible Tao methods were now understood and comprehended, and they entered a state of enlightenment. Boom. 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 Within the Su family, the vast ancestral land was filled with boundless spiritual energy, and the auras of countless members of the Su family were skyrocketing. Their cultivation continuously broke through, and terrifying auras soared into the sky, including Qingge, Su Ziyuan, and the other wives. Even their daughters Su Changge and Su Qingge, all benefited greatly from this. Not only did their cultivation break through crazily, but their physique also underwent evolution, with a significant increase. Luck baptism, a tremendous opportunity, Qingge murmured, her face still filled with shock. This is the baptism of the golden dragon of luck, a blessing that is coveted by cultivators, even by quasi-emperors and great emperors. Saint Ninth Heaven. This cultivation progress is too rapid. Soon, Qingge sensed her own cultivation. Even though she was the empress, at this moment, she felt a bit dazed and couldn't believe it. You should know that she had just recently become a saint, and in order to stabilize her realm and lay a solid foundation, she didn't dare to break through too quickly, but now, in the blink of an eye, she had broken through to the ninth heaven of the saint realm, and her foundation was incredibly solid and perfect, even if she used all means to enhance herself. It wouldn't necessarily compare to this baptism. This is the opportunity that even great emperors desire, incredibly heaven-defying. Longevity. Where did he get a golden dragon from? I never had such means in my previous life. At the same time, Qingge was also shocked by Su Changsheng's methods. What kind of heaven-defying background did her husband have? Could it be that he was an unparalleled immortal king? Or even an existence beyond immortal kings? On the other hand, the rest of the women also made great progress under the baptism of the golden dragon of luck. They were originally divine bodies with astonishing talents, supported by the resources of the Su family. Now, with the baptism of the golden dragon, their cultivation soared. The Purple Moon Emperor even directly broke through to become a saint. Su Changge, this monstrous daughter with exceptional talent, perfectly controlled her cultivation with the power of the baptism and made another breakthrough, achieving the Saint King realm. Boom. 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 Within the Su family, one after another, holy auras bloomed. They were the elders of the Su family, who were already close to semi-saints due to the abundant resources they had been cultivated with. Now, under the enlightenment brought by the baptism of the golden dragon of luck, they erupted directly, continuously breaking through and achieving the saint realm. Not only the people of the Su family, but also some guest officials who joined the Su family, and even a few subordinates of Yen Ryu, both of the two blue-robed great saints, benefited greatly. Although not as astonishing as the people of the Su family, they also improved by 2 or 3 small realms. For a while, the entire Su family, and even many regions of the true Saint continent, were filled with powerful auras constantly erupting, as if it were a geyser. Countless cultivators were dumbfounded. In the extreme beginning sect, the old man with white beard was dumbfounded, unconsciously pulling some of his beard as he exerted force. It was too terrifying. Even in the extreme beginning sacred land, he had never seen such a fierce scene. Is this the means of a great emperor? Boom! In the Su family, Su Changsheng's cultivation also skyrocketed, reaching the 9th heaven realm. Various insights surged in his heart, and he instantly understood them. I didn't expect there to be unexpected joy. Su Changsheng muttered to himself, his eyes flickering, as a great saint at the 9th heaven realm, his strength once again soared. In addition, his comprehension of the 3 great emperors' insights became even deeper. He even vaguely grasped the profound meaning of the highest level of the emperor's path, about to master the true essence of the emperor's scripture. Once mastered, it meant mastering the power of the emperor's scripture and comprehending a supreme emperor's path technique. At that time, if he broke through to the Quasi-Emperor realm, he would be invincible below the supreme level. Ding, you have obtained the clan-protecting emperor weapon, Mother Qi of all matter Cauldron, capable of protecting the luck of the entire clan. At this moment, the voice of the system continued to sound. Mother Qi of all matter Cauldron. Su Changsheng's heart trembled, his eyes shining with divine light, even more astonished than before when he obtained the golden dragon of luck. Boom! Immediately after, Su Changsheng saw a large cauldron appearing in the boundless depths of space, surrounded by the aura of all things. The body of the cauldron was engraved with the sun, moon, mountains, rivers, and all things in the world. An immeasurable imperial might permeated it, within which countless stars and seas floated, as if swallowing and spitting out a vast universe. Its aura was even stronger than that of the Azure Emperor's weapon. It was far superior to the Immortal Emperor's cauldron. After all, it was only half. If it were in its complete state, it should be comparable. Great Emperor weapon. At the first moment, Su Changsheng connected with the Mother Qi of all matter cauldron. His divine sense could perceive the power of this great cauldron and manipulate it, as if it were his own emperor weapon. Su Changsheng could feel the terror of this emperor weapon. Once unleashed, it could crush the eternal, shatter the universe, and pierce through everything without any problem. Boom! With a thought, Su Changsheng controlled the emperor cauldron. He saw the cauldron tremble, bursting with boundless power, as if it could crush everything. But under Su Changsheng's control, the power of the emperor cauldron did not leak out. Instead, it was perfectly controlled and manifested in the outside world. A dragon roar resounded as the golden dragon of luck, which had entered the Su family, appeared once again. Its eyes shone brightly as its dragon body rushed forward and entered the emperor cauldron, wandering inside and emitting a comfortable hum. A strand of information emerged. Soon, Su Changsheng understood, the Mother Qi of all matter cauldron had the ability to suppress luck, preventing it from dissipating. And as time passed, luck could gradually increase. This was also the reason why the golden dragon of luck would enter the Mother Qi of all matter cauldron. Good, good, good. With the golden dragon of luck and this Mother Qi of all matter cauldron, my Su family finally has some semblance of an emperor clan. Su Changsheng clapped his hands and laughed lightly. The emperor clan. Not far away, the immortal clan. There is also great hope. Come, system, let me see the limits of the grand gift package. Ding, you have obtained a resource of ancient clan elixirs. Ding, you have obtained a high-level protective formation that can defend against Quasi-Emperor attacks. Ding, you have obtained 10 divine source mines, 1 holy source mine, and 10,000 saint-grade spiritual veins. Ding, you have obtained the great saint-grade protector, Wang Zun. Ding, you have obtained 30 Saint King elders and 100 saints. Ding, you have obtained 10 divine bodies and 2 sacred bodies. They will be born into the Su family through reincarnation. Ding, you have obtained a desolate ancient saint body. She is attracted by the Mother Qi of all matter cauldron and will soon come to the Chaos Kun divine domain. Please pay attention, host. Soon, one after another, the prompts sounded. Any one of these rewards would be enough to shock a region, leaving even a sacred land dumbfounded. This is not the standard of an ancient clan, but clearly the heritage of a sacred clan. Now, the Su family can be completely regarded as a sacred clan. If we add Su Changsheng and the 3 emperor weapons, even without the appearance of a supreme, they can still chase and beat them. Good, Good, it would be great if a top Quasi-Emperor descended, just right for me to test the power of the mother Qi of all matter Cauldron. Changsheng clapped his hands and laughed. At the same time, he also paid attention to the desolate ancient saint body mentioned by the system, a woman. Or attracted by the mother Qi of all matter Cauldron, it shouldn't be. It should just be a coincidence, just like this Emperor Cauldron, just a similar appearance. Changsheng quickly shook his head. But these 10 divine bodies and 2 sacred bodies, as long as they are carefully cultivated, along with Changge, Qingge, and the few children about to be born. The next generation of my Su family has the potential of an emperor clan. Soon, Changsheng began to imagine the future of the Su family, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. Now, even if he leaves, the Su family truly has the aura of an emperor clan. The emperor clan is just around the corner. In the next period of time, the overall strength of the Su family will skyrocket every day, advancing at an incredible speed, and Changsheng took action, clearing an area of over 100 million miles in the center of the true Saint continent and setting up countless formations within it, expanding the space of this area by billions of times. It became like a real world. The sun, moon, stars, and countless galaxies adorned it, reflecting the starry sky and descending the essence of the sun and moon. Boom! 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 And then, Changsheng even sent 10 divine source veins, 1 holy source vein, 10,000 saint-grade spiritual veins, all at once into this central area. In an instant, boundless spiritual energy and essence surged. This land was filled with the purest spiritual energy everywhere. Fragments of the great Tao manifested everywhere. Various ancient and holy medicines continuously skyrocketed in value. Holy springs gushed forth, divine medicines derived, spiritual mountains as grand as the primordial divine mountain continuously rose from the ground, floating divine islands and palaces one after another. It was as if this was the ancient heavenly court, magnificent and boundless. Immediately, Changsheng incorporated the ancestral protection formation, forming a Quasi-Emperor formation, and suppressed it with the mother Qi of all matter Cauldron and the golden dragon of luck. This is the new territory of the Su family. Changsheng stood on the void, godlike and immortal, his voice spreading throughout the true Saint continent. At this point, the Su family's territory was established. This would be the land of the future emperor clan. The Su family would rise from here, until they dominated the entire everlasting heaven realm, even the countless heavens, becoming the highest immortal clan. The main branch members of the Su family as a whole migrated to the new territory of the Su family, and Myriad Manifestation City became a subsidiary city. The great movement of the Su family also shocked the living beings of the true Saint continent, and many nearby continents were alarmed. In the Chaos Kun divine domain, the gazes of some great saints looked over. However, all of these scenes were concealed by Changsheng, and the great saints were unaware. They only knew that the spiritual energy of the true Saint continent was soaring, constantly rising, and had approached the central continent of the Chaos Kun divine domain. That person's methods truly defy the heavens. The white-bearded elder and the Tai Su patriarch of the extreme beginning sect, who had been paying attention to everything, fell silent. The Chaos Kun divine domain has arrived. The next day, outside the Chaos Kun divine domain, a group of people descended, led by a Quasi-Emperor who looked from a distance. Senior, please take action and kill Changsheng when the time comes. Beside him, Yuan respectfully said. Chapter 87, Changsheng must die. True Phoenix Clan's Quasi-Emperor wants to kill Changsheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuan was very respectful. Although he was a disciple of the Azure Lord, his status in the sacred land of chaos was not low. He could sit on an equal footing with the great saint. But in front of a Quasi-Emperor, he was nothing. Quasi-Emperor Lord, such an existence could command respect even when facing a great emperor. Therefore, he maintained a low profile throughout, being extremely respectful and not daring to show any disrespect. On the side, there were several powerful great saints with terrifying auras. I will take action and kill Changsheng, the Quasi-Emperor said indifferently, with a casual tone. He was a middle-aged man with an ordinary appearance, a beard, and dressed in black. His eyes flickered with a faint divine light, capable of tearing through countless avenues. He was a senior elder of the sacred land of chaos, belonging to the lineage of the Azure Lord. In fact, if it weren't for the Azure Lord's command, he wouldn't have bothered to come to the Chaos Kun divine domain for a mere heavenly saint, even though the other party had achieved a great transformation. In the eyes of the middle-aged man, he couldn't even protect himself and could only be forced to undergo the transformation. Even if he was a Quasi-Emperor Lord, he was still just trash. "Let's go," that the middle-aged man spoke, and immediately pointed his finger, tearing through the spatial barrier of the Chaos Kun divine domain, forcefully descending without any intention of concealment. There were domain barriers between divine domains, and only a great saint could break through and cross domains. Boom. A strand of Quasi-Emperor's might permeated, tearing through the domain barrier, and then swept out mightily, shaking the heavens and the earth, causing the boundless starry sky and countless continents to tremble. At this moment, in the countless continents, any great saint powerhouse could feel a terrifying power, causing their hearts to tremble. They knew that a Quasi-Emperor had descended, and he was not hiding it at all, displaying extreme dominance. In the center of the Chaos Kun divine domain, within a vast academy, that supreme being opened his eyes, his gaze shining through countless time and space, landing on the other party. Boom. A strand of Quasi-Emperor's might descended, colliding with each other, causing terrifying fluctuations. Countless stars trembled, and the boundless time and space and countless continents shook incessantly. This is the collision of Quasi-Emperors. It turns out to be the Dean of Chaos Kun Academy. "I am Taiyu, the elder under the seat of the Lord of Changsheng in the sacred land of Chaos. I have come to Chaos Kun divine domain today for a matter. Please don't make things difficult." In the midst of it, the gaze of the middle-aged man also looked over, spanning countless time and space, and saw the terrifying powerhouse at a glance, and he arched his hand and smiled lightly. Chaos Kun Academy is an extremely mysterious and ancient force, aiming to cultivate the strongest geniuses. So far, it has cultivated numerous Quasi-Emperors, and even supreme powerhouses. Therefore, Chaos Kun Academy has an extremely transcendent status in the everlasting heaven realm. All major hegemonic forces will give them some face. Changsheng. Upon hearing this, the powerful being's heart trembled and was very surprised. "Lord Changsheng, this is a powerful Quasi-Emperor, one of the 10 lords of the sacred land of chaos, and he has also heard of him. He is a peak Quasi-Emperor, with extremely terrifying combat power. He has not only killed opponents of the same level, but also retreated unscathed from a supreme. Among the 10 lords of the sacred land of chaos, he is also ranked in the top 3. Don't go too far." The powerful being fell silent, and soon his cold voice came. "Sacred land of chaos is not easy to provoke, and Lord Changsheng is not easy to provoke either. As long as this Quasi-Emperor doesn't go too far, he will turn a blind eye to it for the sake of both parties. So this is a Quasi-Emperor." Beside him, Dun was extremely shocked. Just the collision of the aura between the two Quasi-Emperors was like the collapse of the heavens and the destruction of all things. Even with the protection of Quasi-Emperors, they were almost shaken to death. If they were to directly face such a collision, I'm afraid even a great saint wouldn't be able to withstand it, right? Not only him, but also the several great saint guards beside him were breathing heavily and their eyes were filled with fear. Under the aura of the Quasi-Emperors, they were no different from ants. "Let's go." The Quasi-Emperor named Taiyu glanced at them and led a few people towards True Saint Continent. Is the direction of True Saint Continent the target? A true Quasi-Emperor, can he still resist? Within Chaos Kun Academy, the powerful being muttered to himself, what kind of existence is he? Just by taking a glance, he knew the target of that Taiyu Quasi-Emperor. It was none other than Su Changsheng, who had caused a series of great disturbances, especially that astonishing immortal sword, referred to as the Sword of Emperor's execution by the 2 elders of the Academy. However, the opponent was only a great saint. Even if he was extraordinary, he couldn't possibly be a match for a Quasi-Emperor, should they lend a helping hand. Our Chaos Kun Academy has always maintained a neutral stance. Regardless of how external forces battle or even if the Imperial Court fights, it has nothing to do with our Academy. Just focus on managing the Academy. Just as the head of Chaos Kun Academy hesitated, an ancient voice came, shaking his heart and revealing awe. This was one of the elders of the Academy, who had once evaluated Su Changsheng's sword. "Very well, since the elder has said so, I won't interfere. It's just a pity for this Su Changsheng, that the head of Chaos Kun Academy couldn't help but shake his head. With a Quasi-Emperor making a move, no matter how great his divine ability was, it would be impossible to resist without an Emperor weapon, an extreme doubt Emperor weapon. He was only a great saint, how could he possibly possess such a powerful weapon? Today, Su Changsheng will die. On the other side, in the everlasting imperial court, the capital city, within the vast and endless immortal city, the auras of countless powerful beings fluctuated, resembling the vastness of the divine realm and the heavenly realm. Has the Su family unified true saint continent? Very good, very good. He truly deserves to be this princess's man. In a grand palace, the 9th princess looked at the intelligence in her hand, her eyes brightening and couldn't help but smile, a strong joy appearing on her face. Perfect, I've already been disgusted by that bastard once. It's time to go out again. Let's go to True Saint Continent and issue another sacred clan decree to them. Princess 9 got up and stretched lazily. Her flawless and beautiful face was filled with excitement, although it hadn't been long since she left Su Changsheng. In Princess 9's eyes, it felt like thousands of years had passed. Her heart was filled with longing for Su Changsheng. This made her eager to fly over and see Su Changsheng again. Your Highness, Lord Changsheng's strength has improved rapidly. According to the intelligence, he once killed the Lord of the Scarlet Forging Demon Palace with a single sword, and it is suspected that he has also severed the Quasi-Emperor's divine sense. Beside her, and he smiled and then explained, her tone filled with shock. Although she had read it beforehand, she still couldn't believe it, extremely shocked. Killing a half-step great saint with a single sword didn't concern her. With Su Changsheng's strength, it wasn't difficult to achieve this, but severing the Quasi-Emperor's divine sense was terrifying. It should be noted that even the top 3 monsters on the great saint ranking might not be able to do it. How is this possible? Princess 9 widened her eyes, showing a look of shock. She had cultivated with Su Changsheng before and knew his realm at that time, which was only a saint king, and now, in such a short time, he could kill a great saint. This kind of terrifying advancement speed was unheard of, even for her as a princess of the imperial court. This is too exaggerated. The strong in the imperial court believe that Lord Changsheng is likely an old monster who has changed his cultivation path, and they don't think highly of him, and he whispered beside her. An old monster who changed his cultivation path. These old guys have no insight at all. Can't I see that Changsheng is his original self and not some old monster? Hearing this, Princess 9 restrained her shocked expression, her eyebrows raised in anger. But soon, she became suspicious and her tone became somewhat urgent. No, I have to go there myself. In such a short time, how did he provoke a Quasi-Emperor? A Quasi-Emperor, even the imperial court would give face to them. They could easily kill thousands of great saints with a snap of their fingers. Even if Su Changsheng could sever a strand of the Quasi-Emperor's divine sense, he wouldn't be able to resist a true Quasi-Emperor. Auntie, call 2 Phoenix sovereigns. I want them to go out. Princess 9 tightened her small face and gave a serious order. Upon hearing this, Auntie's heart suddenly trembled. Supreme Phoenix, the true Phoenix clan left her with 9 guardians, all of whom are Quasi-Emperor level experts. Only after she becomes a saint can she qualify to mobilize 1 or 2 of them. In the past, Princess 9 did not have the authority, but after returning to the imperial court, she first mobilized her own forces and fiercely counterattacked the crown prince several times. Afterwards, she concentrated a large amount of resources and raised her cultivation to the saint realm. Since then, she has also passed the trial left by the true Phoenix clan for her, not only obtaining the ancestral Phoenix battle armor, but also gaining the authority to mobilize the 9 Quasi-Emperors, the 9 Quasi-Emperors directly under her command. This is a very terrifying force. Yes, Auntie respectfully replied. 9th sister, don't rush to leave, Big Brother has something to tell you. However, just as Auntie was about to leave, a light laughter sounded, accompanied by a wave of Quasi-Emperor pressure sweeping over. Auntie's body froze in place, her face pale, and her mind trembling. Outrageous. Seeing this, Princess 9's eyes narrowed, and she shouted with a terrifying pressure bursting out. The heavens and earth trembled, the entire palace was shaking. countless formations appeared, accompanied by surging divine fire. A magnificent fiery red immortal armor appeared, like a beautiful true phoenix. With the appearance of this immortal armor, a supreme pressure swept out from Princess Nine's body. The ancestral phoenix battle armor. This is a supreme weapon, the trial weapon left by the true Phoenix clan for Princess Nine. Boom. Princess Nine's eyes swept, and a strand of supreme pressure fell, instantly shattering the Quasi-Emperor's pressure, and at the same time, sweeping towards the area in front. Boom. The next second, another equally terrifying supreme pressure came, colliding together. In an instant, the entire palace collapsed, disintegrated, and all the formations, including the Quasi-Emperor's grand formation, shattered in the first moment. Boom rumble. The sound of 10,000 explosions filled the air, as two surges of supreme power soared into the sky, like two supreme beings descending upon the 3,000 divine realms. Their aura overwhelmed the ancient times and shook the entire eternal god realm. Buzzing, in the imperial capital, in various places and hidden dimensions, innumerable planes and countless supreme forces, within the top-grade sacred land and the mansions of kings and nobles, one by one, the strongest individuals opened their eyes and scanned their surroundings. They were astonished. Was there a great battle involving supremes erupting in the imperial capital? Ji Ling, how dare you intrude into this princess's palace and lay hands on me? Are you seeking death? Inside the imperial palace, the ninth princess soared into the air, glanced at the shattered palace, and shouted angrily at Yi, whom she had protected. Her voice, under the blessing of supreme soldiers, directly shook the entire imperial city. Countless powerhouses were surprised. It turned out that it was the ninth princess who had gone into a rage, and her target was the crown prince. This was a major event. The current emperor was about to abdicate, and among the many imperial sons and daughters vying for the throne, the crown prince and the ninth princess had the greatest chance. The crown prince was the strongest, with quasi-emperor cultivation and a terrifying maternal clan, a dragon race force, as well as the support of various major sea dragon palaces, many kings, and powerful ancient god race factions. At present, he was the most powerful candidate, and many giants had high hopes for the crown prince and placed their bets on him. Although the ninth princess was the youngest and had the lowest cultivation, she also had great aspirations, because she had the backing of the true Phoenix clan. The true Phoenix clan, an extremely mysterious and formidable race, was rumored to have an immortal sitting in their clan. Just based on this, the ninth princess had great competitiveness, so many giants stood on her side. Therefore, after returning, the ninth princess immediately mobilized the forces of a group of giants and dealt a heavy blow to the crown prince, causing him to suffer a lot. Hee, ninth sister, why be so aggressive? Your brother just hasn't seen you in a long time and wants to have a chat with you. On the other side, in the void, the crown prince appeared. He smiled and held a golden divine spear in his hand, surrounded by dragon patterns, exuding a supreme aura, a supreme weapon. At this moment, both supreme armies are blooming, the majestic supreme power sweeping through the 9 heavens, colliding with each other, as if tearing apart the universe, causing the Tao to mourn. At least in the eternal life divine realm, all the paths of this world have dispersed and shattered, everything turning into emptiness, leaving only the unmatched power of two supremes. Once the collision erupts, their divine power will tear everything apart, destroying all paths. Even though the eternal life divine realm has the suppression of the Emperor's Tao, which greatly mitigates the destructive power of cultivators, it will still cause unimaginable disasters. Let out your fart quickly, don't block the way of this princess. Ninth princess sneered, her gaze sharp and commanding. For some reason, she felt a sense of unease in her heart. The crown prince dares to openly stop her, even if it means tearing their faces apart. There must be a conspiracy behind this. That's nothing. I just wanted to tell ninth sister that I have already transmitted the news of your lost primordial Een back to the true Phoenix clan. I believe someone must have received it and is heading towards the Chaos Kun divine domain. The crown prince chuckled. What? Ninth princess's expression changed instantly. She looked at the crown prince with an extremely cold gaze and spoke in a frigid tone. Ji Ling, today this princess swears a great oath. I will kill you in this lifetime, otherwise, my Tao heart will collapse and I will die. Boom. As soon as these words were spoken, the Tao sensed it, and all paths resounded, even with the power of the Supreme. The myriad paths of heaven and earth appeared, acknowledging Ninth Princess's oath. Once a great oath is made, it must be upheld, otherwise, one will suffer the backlash of the heavenly Tao. This Ninth Princess actually made such a cruel oath. This is completely tearing their faces apart. It's a fight to the death. Fortunately, this is the Imperial City, still within the eternal life divine realm. These two should not engage in a life-or-death battle. Ninth Princess's cultivation is still lacking, too immature. But the Crown Prince also doesn't dare to personally kill Ninth Princess. The outcome is still uncertain. In various parts of the Imperial City, many powerful individuals, even the leaders of different factions, couldn't help but feel shocked by Ninth Princess's oath. The Crown Prince's smiling face also stiffened slightly. He didn't expect Ninth Princess to be so decisive, and he felt a hint of regret in his heart. Ninth Sister, it seems that Changsheng is indeed very important to you. He truly deserves to be called your lover, to make you so angry. The eldest prince quickly regained his composure and smiled faintly. However, you will be disappointed. According to the information I have received, not only did powerful individuals from the Phoenix clan go there, but Phoenix Su Dao himself personally led the team. In addition, the sacred land of chaos also has a Quasi-Emperor descending to take his life. The God Martial King of the Crimson Blood Imperial Court, his son was also massacred by Changsheng. This time, there will be at least 2 Quasi-Emperors making a move. I wonder if he can struggle against the encirclement of the Quasi-Emperors, or as always, kill 2 Quasi-Emperors with one sword, that the eldest prince said with a smile. Step aside. Princess Nine's face turned cold, a chill filled the air, even the divine fire of the ancestral phoenix battle robe couldn't suppress it. She said coldly. Ninth Sister, you won't be able to leave today. Although your battle robe is powerful, your cultivation is still too weak to fully utilize it. Now, just play with your big brother for a while, the eldest prince said softly. Boom. Boom. Behind him, the aura of Quasi-Emperors emerged, collapsing the heavens and earth. Surrounding this palace, he wanted to stop the powerful individuals under Princess Nine from going to the Chaos Kun divine domain. As long as he could stop them for half a day, Changsheng would definitely die. Kill. Princess Nine shouted. In the next moment, the imperial capital erupted in an unprecedented Quasi-Emperor battle. Countless powerful individuals fell silent. On the other side, within the boundary of the Chaos Kun divine domain, 3 terrifying figures descended, 2 of them exuding the aura of Quasi-Emperors, sweeping through the divine domain. That's the place. Changsheng. The leader was a handsome young man, dressed in true Phoenix Immortal clothes, gazing at the true Saint continent and speaking to himself. In his eyes, there was a chilling intent to kill. Chapter 88 Heavenly Emperor Inheritance, Heavenly Emperor Fist, 9 Secrets. Su family has a golden. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The youth is very handsome, almost otherworldly. He is draped in a crimson true Phoenix Immortal robe, flowing with a brilliant crimson divine light, dazzling and radiant. The laws of the great Tao circulate, permeating with a trace of supreme fluctuations. This is a supreme battle garment. A lowly commoner, a mere ant, dares to touch the body of the phoenix. The youth muttered to himself, his eyes filled with overwhelming killing intent. He is one of the contemporary imperial sons of the true Phoenix clan. His name is Huang Su Dao. His status within the true Phoenix clan is extremely high, and within his lineage, there are even several supreme ancestors. Originally, he was deeply infatuated with the 9th princess. In his eyes, as a Phoenix clan prodigy with the 9 Phoenix sacred body, she should have been his match. In this battle for the throne of the everlasting imperial court, Huang Su Dao had planned to invite the supreme ancestors to help the 9th princess seize the throne in exchange for marriage. However, before he could make a move, news arrived that the 9th princess had lost her primordial Een. Moreover, the one who took it was a mere commoner, a mere Quasi-Emperor cultivator, a tiny ant. Dared to touch something that should not belong to him. At the thought of the 9th princess being taken away, the jealousy in Huang Su Dao's heart burned intensely, about to erupt. Lord Imperial Son, a Quasi-Emperor has arrived ahead of us. and he seems to have a grudge with Su Changsheng. At this moment, a Quasi-Emperor stepped forward. She was a beautiful woman, with a cold expression on her face, wearing immortal armor. Her gaze was icy, exuding a terrifying aura. She is Huang Su Dao's protector. What? Upon hearing this, Huang Su Dao's expression changed instantly. He had come this time with the intention of personally killing Su Changsheng. If someone else were to beat him to it, how could he seek revenge? Let's go. Without hesitation, he immediately led the two Quasi-Emperors and rushed towards the true Saint Continent. Boom. With the arrival of the two Quasi-Emperors, the earth-shattering divine might once again shook the entire Chaos Kun divine domain. Countless experts were dumbfounded by the resounding roar. What is going on? Could it be that there is a treasure or an unparalleled tomb in the Chaos Kun divine domain? Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan, within Chaos Kun Academy, the Dean was once again alarmed. He looked on in astonishment and saw two Quasi-Emperors of the Phoenix clan descending, their divine might surging without restraint. Their momentum was clearly aggressive. Immediately, the Dean's expression turned serious as he intended to awaken the Academy's strongest individuals. After all, it involved the true Phoenix clan. Similar to the Dragon clan, the Phoenix clan had numerous branches, and any one of their groups possessed immense power, and the true Phoenix clan was an extremely powerful branch of the Phoenix clan. It was said that there was a supreme existence resembling an immortal phoenix slumbering within the clan. Although the truth was unknown, it could be seen that this clan was formidable. Its reputation was renowned in many heavenly realms, and even great emperors were unwilling to provoke them easily. Even the transcendent Chaos Kun Academy couldn't afford to provoke them. Wait. Why are they heading to the true Saint Continent again? Could it be for Su Changsheng? However, soon after, the Dean's expression became strange, filled with astonishment, because the two Quasi-Emperors and the young Phoenix clan member were heading towards the true Saint Continent. Their goal was obviously the same as the Quasi-Emperor from the sacred land of chaos, all for the sake of Su Changsheng. This left the Dean dumbfounded. Is Su Changsheng really causing so much trouble? In such a short period of time, 3 Quasi-Emperors have descended, and they keep coming one after another. This time, there's no hope. Even if I intervene, it would be the same. The Dean shook his head. If it was only the sacred land of chaos, he might still be able to save Su Changsheng by taking action, but with the addition of the Quasi-Emperors from the true Phoenix clan, unless the 2 ancestral elders make a move, it would be impossible to save Su Changsheng. It can be said that he is basically doomed. He is able to kill 3 Quasi-Emperors by himself. The Dean muttered to himself, but soon, he laughed bitterly. Even he wouldn't be able to accomplish that. He was only a great saint, so how could he contend against 3 Quasi-Emperors? Any random Quasi-Emperor could easily kill him with a single strike. 3 Quasi-Emperors have come for Su Changsheng. It seems that I don't need to take action. On the other side, the heavenly dragon Empress quietly descended. She did not alarm anyone and instead walked through the deep space channel, her gaze deep as she watched this scene. No great saint can contend against 3 Quasi-Emperors. Even if a true immortal were to descend to the mortal realm, they would only face a dead end in the great saint realm. What a pity. I wanted to test him a bit, but it seems there is no hope now. The heavenly dragon Empress muttered to herself. She had a supreme weapon in her hand and was confident that she could directly suppress Su Changsheng. However, with 3 Quasi-Emperors descending, she would not be able to compete. Well, after all, he is a remarkable figure. Let this princess witness your end. In the next moment, the heavenly dragon Empress took a step closer to the true Saint Continent, but did not fully descend. She watched this scene from a distance. On the other side, before the arrival of the 3 Quasi-Emperors, in the Su family's territory, within the mother Qi of all matter Cauldron, Su Changsheng sat cross-legged in the Emperor Cauldron, surrounded by a terrifying aura. Countless divine lights shimmered, and fragments of countless great Tao flew around. Among them, there were roars of gods and demons, boiling chaos energy, and a grand chanting that continuously resounded. Countless symbols danced, and immortal lights shone, as if there was an unparalleled immortal scripture. Not only that, but a blurry emperor's shadow also appeared behind him. It was grand and not the purple star emperor's shadow. This emperor's shadow emitted a vast heavenly might, surpassing that of a great emperor. It was the heavenly emperor. Boom! In no time, Su Changsheng opened his eyes, and the heavenly emperor's shadow completely solidified, revealing Su Changsheng's face. It was none other than himself, the heavenly emperor's shadow. I didn't expect that within the mother Qi of all matter cauldron, there would be two supreme heavenly emperor secret techniques, the heavenly emperor fist and the 9 secrets. Su Changsheng stood up, converging his divine light. The heavenly emperor's shadow dissipated, and he sighed lightly. Not long ago, after settling the Su family's territory, Su Changsheng had a whim and explored the emperor cauldron with his divine consciousness. It was originally just a casual act, but unexpectedly, he discovered a pleasant surprise. Within the mother Qi of all matter cauldron, there were actually 2 untransmitted secret techniques, heavenly emperor fist, 9 secrets. These 2 great secrets are possessed by a heavenly emperor, powerful to the extreme, almost comparable to the immortal Tao. This kind of battle power, much more terrifying than the myriad tribulations battle art and the Zhou Tian Xing Chen Emperor scripture. The strength of this heavenly emperor, Su Changsheng silently estimated. Finally, he came to a conclusion: the strength of this heavenly emperor far surpasses that of the Azure Emperor and the owner of the Zhou Tian Xing Chen Emperor scripture. As for Qingge, in her previous life, she was at the peak of the great emperor realm. According to her, she could even fight against immortals and even attempt to kill them, although it is unknown whether this is true or not. Coupled with the myriad tribulations battle art, which Qingge created casually, Su Changsheng temporarily placed the 2 of them on the same level. Just mastered such a powerful secret technique, but unfortunately, there are no 1 or 2 quasi-emperors for me to test it on. Su Changsheng regretted, whether it was the mother Qi of all matter cauldron or the recently obtained heavenly emperor fist and 9 secrets, he really wanted to find an opponent to try them out. After all, since obtaining the emperor weapon, he hadn't used it properly even once. Now, the Azure Lotus soldiers were planted in the backyard pond, serving as a site for his wives and daughters to enjoy. Now, should he use this mother Qi of all matter cauldron to cook food? That could work too, right? The emperor weapon is gathering dust. Su Changsheng shook his head, feeling ashamed of his thoughts, while thinking about how to use the emperor cauldron to make soup to replenish his wives, especially Su Ziyuan and the others who were still pregnant. They needed a large amount of vitality replenishment. That at this moment, Su Changsheng looked up, gazing into the distance, his eyes revealing a hint of surprise. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. I just mentioned that I need a few quasi-emperors to test my skills, and now they've come knocking on my door. Su Changsheng clapped his hands and laughed. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Still chuckling, Su Changsheng took a step forward and appeared in the outside world. Boom! At this moment, in the external world, within the true Saint continent, a vast quasi-emperor's divine might descended, tearing apart the heavens and earth, causing the entire continent to tremble. Not only that, the sky and boundless seas were also torn apart by countless terrifying cracks. Various chains of order shattered one after another, as if it were the end of the world. The surrounding continents also suffered devastating blows. Countless living beings were affected, and their cries of agony were incessant. Many saints, including great saints, were all filled with fear. However, unexpectedly, the true Saint continent remained unharmed, protected by a mysterious and mighty force. No matter how the quasi-emperor's might raged, it remained unscathed. Although the living beings within were terrified, they were unharmed. This was precisely the power of the mother Qi of all matter cauldron and the golden dragon of luck, able to protect a region of heaven and earth from destruction. Unless a true great emperor descended, otherwise, even a supreme would need to continuously bombard with an extreme Tao emperor weapon to destroy this land. This continent is not simple, it can actually withstand my quasi-emperor's divine might. In the sky, Tai Yu exclaimed in surprise. Who was he? A quasi-emperor lord of a generation. Even if it was just a strand of his divine might, it could crush galaxies, shatter billions of stars. A mere continent should have long been shattered and destroyed. It seems this person is not simple, he has some means. Tai Yu's expression became slightly serious. He started to take Su Changsheng more seriously. This is the true Saint Continent. How could it have changed so much? Beside him, Gu Yuan was also shocked. He stared in disbelief at the true Saint Continent. Countless spiritual energy gushed out from it, with rolling vitality. Countless rays of light and purple energy soared, astonishingly beautiful, like a fairyland. Although it couldn't compare to the sacred land of chaos, it was already incredibly extraordinary and terrifying. How many years had it been? Several great saints were also moved. Their vision was extremely high, and they could see the extraordinary nature of this continent, such an astonishing landscape. Even in the thousands of divine realms ruled by the sacred land of chaos, it could rank in the top 10. Was this really just a small continent in a remote divine realm? That must be the Su family. No. Something's not right. Beside them, Tai Yu's expression became increasingly solemn. His gaze fell on the center of the true Saint Continent, on that vast family, his gaze becoming more and more serious, filled with astonishment and uncertainty. That is undoubtedly the Su family. However, he found that he couldn't see through this family. Deep within their family, there is an immense golden light surging. Vaguely, there is a towering giant cauldron, and within its depths, a golden dragon swims continuously. Boom. Perhaps sensing his gaze, the golden dragon of luck opened its eyes, and its divine light pierced through the ages, looking towards Tai Su. A vast aura rushed towards him and collided with him, causing his expression to change and his body to shake violently, retreating several steps. Golden Dragon of Luck. Tai Yu couldn't help but exclaim, his face filled with shock. How is this possible? A small Su family, a small Su Changsheng, just a Quasi-Emperor cultivator that he looks down upon as trash. How could there be a Golden Dragon of Luck? It should be known that even the rulers of the sacred land of chaos, who have existed since ancient times and have profound foundations, possess more than one extreme Tao Emperor weapon, but even so, they only have one Golden Dragon of Luck, which is not much different from the one in the Su family. What kind of virtue and ability does the Su family have that their luck can compare to the sacred land of chaos? Tob, from that giant cauldron, he felt an extraordinary aura, which seemed to be the aura of an extreme Tao Emperor. Hiss. Tai Yu took a sharp breath. As a Quasi-Emperor, his thinking was terrifyingly fast, and he immediately understood. Su Changsheng is not at all what he expected, just a Quasi-Emperor cultivator, or rather, he is not a Quasi-Emperor, but a great emperor. Moreover, it is highly likely that he is a reincarnation of an ancient great emperor, gradually recovering his past memories and reclaiming his previous Tao fruits, beginning to restore his peak period. It is precisely because of this that Su Changsheng's strength has become so terrifying, that he possesses a Golden Dragon of Luck, and that he possesses an emperor weapon. Kick the iron plate. At this moment, Tai Yu broke out in a cold sweat. Offending a recovering ancient great emperor, even though he is a Quasi-Emperor of the sacred land of chaos, he feels like his scalp is about to explode. Even the sacred land of chaos does not want to provoke such a freak. Senior, are you okay? Beside him, Gu Yuan's face turned anxious and he quickly asked. Several great saints also felt a sense of unease. They keenly caught what Tai Yu had said earlier. Does the Su family have the Golden Dragon of Luck? Senior, please hold back. I am the true Phoenix clan's imperial prince, Su Changsheng. I request that you leave him to me. At this moment, a voice rang out from outside the sky. Huang Su Dao also stepped forward at this moment, accompanied by two Quasi-Emperors from the Phoenix clan. Their imposing aura filled the air as they arrived on the other side. Another Quasi-Emperor. Gu Yuan and the others were once again shocked, realizing that they had come for Su Changsheng. True Phoenix clan. Upon hearing this, Tai Yu was momentarily stunned. Upon hearing that they had come for Su Changsheng, he felt slightly relieved. If two more Quasi-Emperors from the Phoenix clan were to come, even if Su Changsheng was a reincarnation of an ancient great emperor, he had not yet reached the Quasi-Emperor realm. Even with the extreme Tao Emperor weapon, he should still be fearless. Very well, as you say, let you all kill Su Changsheng. Tai Yu's expression eased slightly as he cupped his hands. Thank you, senior. Seeing this, Huang Su Dao smiled. With his identity as the true Phoenix clan's imperial prince, even Quasi-Emperors had to give him face. Quasi-Emperors have arrived. It's actually 3 Quasi-Emperor powerhouses. It seems like they want to kill Ancestor Changsheng. What should we do now? Within the Su family, a group of elders had already been alarmed, their faces looking grim as they watched this scene. 3 Quasi-Emperors. Humph, even if they bring 3 more, it's still nothing compared to that person. He is a great emperor. In the extreme beginning sect, the white-bearded old man saw this scene and couldn't help but snort disdainfully. If it was before, facing 3 Quasi-Emperors, he would have already despaired, but now that he knew Su Changsheng's secret, the white-bearded old man was very confident. As an ancient great emperor, his methods were unfathomable. A few Quasi-Emperors were nothing to fear. Gu Yuan, on a divine island belonging to the Su family, inside a palace, Gu Qingge's gaze turned cold at this moment. She saw Gu Yuan, the pain of digging up bones from the past surged up at this moment, and an endless killing intent filled her heart. In the previous life, she had wanted revenge, but at that time, Gu Yuan had already been possessed by the Gu family's ancestor, so she could only slap the Gu family's ancestor to death in anger. In this life, she finally had the opportunity to kill the main culprit. Boom! Immediately, Gu Qingge raised her hand and summoned the Azure Lotus Emperor weapon planted in the pond, then appeared in the outside world, exuding a terrifying holy aura. Gu Yuan, do you remember me? Gu Qingge held the Azure Lotus Emperor weapon in her hand, her killing intent overflowing. Gu Qingge. How is this possible? You've actually become a saint? Gu Yuan was stunned, and his expression changed drastically after gazing at Gu Qingge for a while, very shocked. Wasn't Gu Qingge crippled? How did she recover and even possess the cultivation of a saint? I suppose Su Changsheng helped you, right? I didn't expect my good little sister to associate herself with an old monster. But it doesn't matter, today, all of you will die here. But soon, Gu Yuan calmed down and understood why. Sneering, Taiyu's mouth twitched on the side, wishing to slap him to death. Dare to speak nonsense even to the great emperor. Gu Qingge didn't speak, her expression just grew colder. Kill her, then burn Su Changsheng, and by the way, exterminate this family of yours. Huang Su Dao frowned. He had no interest in such petty grievances, and impatiently waved his hand. Boom! A male quasi-emperor of the Phoenix clan's gaze turned cold. When he was about to slap down, the void trembled, and a young man walked out, wearing a robe adorned with stars, with a smile on his lips. Yuan, it's beyond words. I've just learned 2 supreme secrets, and my hands are itching. And here you all are, coming to me. What do you think? Is it wonderful? Su Changsheng clapped his hands and laughed. Chapter 89 The Myth Within the Myth, the Great Saint's Counterattack Against the Quasi-Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Changsheng's appearance attracted the attention of everyone present. The gazes that came towards him were filled with terrifying pressure, causing even the void to tremble continuously. A great saint. The 2 quasi-emperors of the true Phoenix clan seemed a bit strange. A mere great saint and actually wants to challenge them. This is madness. Su Changsheng. Huang Su Dao's killing intent surged immediately, his eyes radiating a chilling aura. Boom! A terrifying pressure surged forth, suppressing the heavens and earth. It was already approaching the quasi-emperor level, an existence at the level of a tyrant. Su Changsheng remained calm, and before the pressure could approach, it was dissipated by an invisible force. Who are you? At the same time, he looked at Huang Su Dao with surprise, the pride of the true Phoenix clan. From the other party, Su Changsheng could sense an extremely powerful true Phoenix bloodline. Although it couldn't compare to the 9th princess, it was still considerable, approaching that of a pure-blooded descendant of the true Phoenix. With such a formidable momentum and killing intent, it should be related to the matter of the 9th princess, Tsk, a femme fatale. No wonder Gu Qingge warned me not to provoke the 9th princess back then. Su Changsheng's thoughts quickly turned, and he understood. It's fortunate that he's someone like him, otherwise, he wouldn't be able to withstand the subsequent crazy retaliation. I am the Emperor's son of the true Phoenix clan, ranked 9th on the Great Saint list, Huang Su Dao. Upon hearing Su Changsheng's words, Huang Su Dao frowned, but quickly relaxed, suppressing the killing intent in his heart and proudly said. Ninth on the Great Saint list. The Great Saint list has one entry for every 10 heavenly realms. It is published by the Heavenly Tao Sacred Temple and only includes the 30 most powerful Great Saints. This means that among the 10 heavenly realms nearby, Huang Su Dao is ranked 9th on the Great Saint list. Calling him the strongest Great Saint is not an exaggeration. Huang Su Dao. Never heard of it. Su Changsheng shook his head, causing Huang Su Dao's face to stiffen and his proud expression to falter. Su Changsheng. Beside them, Gu Yuan's killing intent surged as he thought about his own family being annihilated by Su Changsheng, filling him with hatred towards him. Taiyu Quasi-Emperor remained expressionless, feeling helpless in his heart. He wanted to leave, as he didn't want to get involved with an ancient great emperor. But ever since he probed the golden dragon of luck, a terrifying aura had locked onto him. If he were to retreat, he would be attacked by the joint forces of the extreme Dao Emperor weapon and the golden dragon of luck. Therefore, he had been enduring it and didn't dare to leave immediately. At the same time, when he saw Su Changsheng appear, he also breathed a sigh of relief. As expected, Su Changsheng was still only at the Great Saint realm and had not restored his Quasi-Emperor cultivation. With that being the case, even if he was a reincarnation of an ancient great emperor, Taiyu was confident he could retreat unscathed. However, Su Changsheng was still an ancient great emperor after all. Even though he hadn't recovered for long since his reincarnation, Taiyu couldn't provoke him and should just admit his mistake and leave. As Taiyu's thoughts turned, he wanted to speak up. Elder Taiyu, please make a move and kill Su Changsheng. At this moment, Gu Yuan's voice came, filled with killing intent, causing Taiyu's face to stiffen. The words he was about to say came to a halt. Kill him, no, cripple him, and leave his primordial spirit for this deity's son to deal with. Huang Su Dao also spoke, his tone icy. Boom. As his words fell, the male true phoenix Quasi-Emperor looked over. His eyes were indifferent, sweeping over everyone without sorrow or joy, as if looking down on ants. Then, he struck with a palm. This strike was earth-shattering, annihilating all things. The entire sky and earth were covered. Qingge, Su Changsheng, and even the entire continent were enveloped, about to be completely destroyed with a single palm. However, he was well aware that he needed to spare Su Changsheng's life and intentionally controlled his strength, so as not to kill Su Changsheng. You've caused a debt of affection. On the side, Qingge's face was cold, her white clothes fluttering. She didn't care about the power of this palm, but rather coldly looked at Su Changsheng. The meaning behind it was obvious. Lady's words are true. I will take care of them all. Su Changsheng chuckled lightly, then slapped his palm, colliding with the other palm. The surging divine power wiped out the palm, and all the residual waves dissipated. What? This scene made everyone's faces change, their brows twitching violently, especially the Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan. He was stunned. He didn't use much power just now. As a great saint overlord, it should have been easy, but unexpectedly, his palm was blocked. You've become stronger again. Qingge couldn't help but say. Su Changsheng's strength once again refreshed her understanding. This kind of advancement speed was truly terrifying. He actually blocked the Quasi-Emperor's attack. On the other side, outside the true saint continent, Heavenly Dragon Empress, who was secretly observing, furrowed her brows and her gaze trembled. Just from this palm, she could tell that if she didn't use the supreme armament, she wouldn't be Su Changsheng's match. Lady, I have gained some insights from the Mother Qi of all matter Cauldron and comprehended 2 great secret techniques, which has improved my strength a bit. Su Changsheng turned his head to look at Qingge, smiling as he explained. Then, he looked at the 3 Quasi-Emperors and lightly laughed. This place is too small, not suitable as a battlefield. How about we go outside the domain for a battle? What are you, a mere ant? This seat can wipe you out with a single finger. Are you worthy of going outside the domain for a battle? Upon hearing this, the Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan seemed to feel humiliated, and his face immediately turned cold. As a Quasi-Emperor, it was one thing that he couldn't suppress a great saint with a palm, but to go outside the domain for a battle. Wouldn't that be losing face on a grand scale? In normal circumstances, a Quasi-Emperor could easily annihilate tens of thousands of great saints with a single palm. from ancient times to the present, there have been only a few legends of great saints counterattacking quasi-emperors, but they have not been confirmed and no one believes them. I'll make a move, another true phoenix quasi-emperor spoke. She was beautiful and cold, and at this moment, she was about to make a move, pointing to suppress Su Changsheng. If you don't leave, then let me send you on your way, but before she could make a move, Su Changsheng burst into laughter. A more terrifying pressure, surpassing everyone present, erupted, and a majestic heavenly emperor phantom appeared. The magnificent divine might swept through the entire Chaos Kun divine domain, shaking it, even penetrating the domain barrier and affecting the distant divine domains. Outside the domain, innocent stars trembled violently. This kind of power was not at all like that of a great saint, but more like an incredibly powerful quasi-emperor. What? Everyone was shocked and their expressions changed. Boom! 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 In the next instant, Su Changsheng consecutively clapped his hands 3 times. His speed surpassed time and space, and it could be seen that there were fragments of time swirling around, unbelievably fast. At the first moment, the 2 true phoenix quasi-emperors, including Taiyu, were all slapped away like meteors, crashing into the starry sky outside the domain. 3 palms sent 3 quasi-emperors flying. This scene almost made the secretly observing heavenly dragon Empress's eyes pop out, her expression extremely horrified. Is this still a great saint? Gu Yuan, Huang Su Dao, and even several great saints were stunned, their expressions stiff, all dumbfoundedly watching this scene. They couldn't come back to their senses at all. Lady, I'll leave this place to you. With the Azure Lotus Emperor weapon in your hands, you should be able to suppress everything. Su Changsheng's voice came, and his figure had already taken a step forward, arriving in the starry sky outside the domain. All right, Gu Qingge said calmly. Her expression was cold, her gaze icy as she looked at the powerful great saints like Huang Su Dao. Behind her, terrifying great saint auras surged one after another. Dragon Maiden, Yan Ruyu, Qinyin Celestial Maiden, 2 great saints in green robes, a total of 5 powerful great saints, especially the Dragon Maiden, who was already extremely terrifying. The fact that she was able to escape from the hands of several peak great saints was enough to prove her strength. After practicing dual cultivation with Su Changsheng, there was also the baptism of the Golden Dragon of Luck, and my strength skyrocketed, already not weaker than Huang Su Dao. In addition, there's Yan Ruyu, and Gu Qingge, who wields the Extreme Dao Emperor weapon, is enough to suppress everyone present. Great Saint Overlord. On the other side, Huang Su Dao just recovered from the shock and saw the appearance of the Dragon Maiden. His face instantly became extremely ugly, but he still calmly said, just a great saint overlord. This emperor has the supreme soldiers, and with a flick of my finger, I can kill you. Boom. As soon as the words fell, a strand of supreme divine might bloomed, and the floating immortal emperor jar appeared, suspended above the Dragon Maiden's head, emitting an imperial might that filled the air, shaking the heavens and earth, causing Huang Su Dao's face to freeze. Extreme Dao Emperor Weapon. He exclaimed in shock, how is this possible? Just a small family, mere ants, how could they have an Extreme Dao Emperor weapon? Boom! In the next instant, another wave of supreme divine might exploded, and the Azure Lotus Emperor weapon soared into the sky. Under Gu Qingge's control, it radiated countless divine rays, and strands of imperial light descended. These 2 Extreme Dao Emperor weapons simultaneously displayed their might, as if a great emperor was reigning, their imperial might collapsing the eternal ages. The entire true saint continent was shaken, and the impact reached the Chaos Kun divine domain. However, this supreme divine might did not completely unleash, and coupled with the commotion in the extraterrestrial space, the attention of many powerful experts was drawn away, and they did not notice it immediately. Kill them. Among them, Gu Qingge's expression was cold as she coldly shouted. Then she used the Extreme Dao Emperor weapon to suppress the situation, slapping Gu Yuanpa. Gu Yuan's expression greatly changed. Boom. 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 At the same time, in the extraterrestrial space, an endless starry sky, 3 streaks of light flew like meteors, falling from afar onto a starry region. With a loud bang, an infinite brightness exploded, and the chaotic aura surged, shattering countless stars. A surge of unparalleled divine might surged forth, already shaking the Chaos Kun divine domain at the first moment, even reaching the surrounding divine domains, alarming powerful beings and attracting their attention. Buzz, 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 in various divine domains, and even in the surrounding divine domains, there were flashes of light in their eyes. Those were powerful beings, at the very least great saints, and there were even quasi-emperors. At this moment, they all looked over. This. How is this possible? Within Chaos Kun Academy, even the dean widened his eyes in shock, his scalp tingling. Isn't Changsheng a great saint? He actually slapped away 3 quasi-emperors with 3 palms. Could it be that he has been hiding his true strength, and is not just a great saint, but a peerless quasi-emperor? He is a great saint. Just as the dean was doubting his life, an ancient voice came, shaking him to the core. Even more astonished, it was the voice of the Academy's ancestor. However, he is not an ordinary great saint, but an invincible great saint who can suppress quasi-emperors. Today, we are destined to witness a myth. No, it is a myth within a myth. Another voice joined in, and the dean looked over. He saw 2 figures standing there, surrounded by chaotic energy, stepping on the void. Their eyes contained the destruction of chaos, the birth and death of the universe, and their noses were terrifying. Their aura was hidden but oppressive, causing even this quasi-emperor to tremble. The dean was shocked. These were the 2 oldest existences in the Academy, infinitely close to the realm of great emperors, almost stepping into it, only 1 step away, or rather, they had entered another realm. Just 1 step away from the great emperor. This was the supreme. Greetings, 2 ancestors. The dean appeared in the middle, dressed in a black robe, with the imprint of a kunpeng between his sleeves, mysterious and profound. He arrived beside the 2 figures, showing respect. It's a pity that such existences should have been befriended earlier, which would have greatly benefited our Academy. No need for that. The Academy has long had regulations. Neutrality is enough, and there is nothing we can do about missing the opportunity. The words of the 2 ancestors seemed plain, but the dean could vaguely hear their regret. This left the dean in a state of shock. You should know that in the past, even if the Academy missed out on a peerless genius who could become an emperor or even a great emperor, the 2 ancestors would casually dismiss it and not care at all. But today, facing Changsheng, they felt a hint of regret. Could it be that the ancestors think Changsheng will surpass the great emperor and become an immortal? This is a quasi-emperor battle. Which side's quasi-emperor? The supreme powerhouse of which side? Or is it some old monster? What, a great monster? In the divine realms, countless powerful beings looked over and were shocked when they saw Changsheng standing in the starry sky, because he was not the quasi-emperor monster they had imagined, but a young great saint comparable to a quasi-emperor. Can a great saint overthrow a quasi-emperor? Roar! In the outer domain of the stars, amidst countless shattered star remains, accompanied by several roars, terrifying quasi-emperor auras erupted one after another. The galaxy trembled, and there were countless mournful cries. The entire Chaos Kun divine domain could feel the arrival of 3 powerful auras, impacting the domain barrier and causing the entire Chaos Kun divine domain to shake as if it were about to be destroyed. In the outer domain of the stars, many galaxies exploded. Is this going to destroy the divine realm? All the powerful beings in the divine realms changed their expressions, and even the great saints couldn't help but tremble. The destructive power of a quasi-emperor was too terrifying. Once they became angry and released their power without reservation, their immeasurable aura alone could crush a divine realm, shatter the myriad laws of heaven and earth, deplete spiritual energy, and create an era of decline. If a full-scale war broke out, it would be no problem to directly destroy several divine realms. That's why, once a quasi-emperor erupts in a major battle, they must go to the outer domain of the stars. Only there is the battlefield for quasi-emperors. At the same time, the dominant forces in each realm also have regulations that do not allow quasi-emperors to cause too much damage to the divine realms. Once a quasi-emperor battle leads to the destruction of a divine realm, it will attract the suppression of the strongest beings from the imperial court. Therefore, quasi-emperors rarely fight each other, and even if they do, they go to the outer domain and control their own power. But at this moment, due to extreme anger, the 3 quasi-emperors did not conceal their auras. and without any scruples, they impacted the entire divine realm. The sky and earth change color, countless paths tear apart, and numerous cultivators and beings are all filled with fear. They do not know that this is the display of the Quasi-Emperor's divine might and think that the world is about to be destroyed. Woo woo woo. At this moment, within the Chaos Kun Academy, accompanied by a long and endless sound, a boundless black fish shadow emerges. It exudes a mysterious and mighty power, stabilizing the entire divine domain and dispelling all pressure. This scene makes everyone breathe a sigh of relief. They know that the ruler of the Chaos Kun divine domain, the Transcendent Academy, has taken action. That is the divine Kun of the Academy, rumored to possess half the bloodline of the Kunpeng, incredibly powerful. As Quasi-Emperors look over, they gaze at the shadow and their eyes tremble with fear. The strength of this divine Kun is comparable to a supreme. Su Changsheng. From beyond the domain, a furious roar resounds. Accompanied by boundless divine fire, a true phoenix shadow soars into the sky, radiating infinite brilliance and dazzling divine light. As a figure rushes out, it is the male Quasi-Emperor, his face bearing a palm print, the result of being slapped by Su Changsheng earlier. This fills him with immense anger, almost driving him to lose his reason. On the other side, Taiyu and another female Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan appear. The former is extremely annoyed, while the latter is embarrassed. With a clear palm print visible on her majestic chest, a dignified Quasi-Emperor was actually slapped away by a great saint in a moment of carelessness. This is simply a great humiliation. Even though Taiyu knows Su Changsheng's identity, he is currently filled with anger, displaying his might. Even if he is a reincarnation of an ancient great emperor, being just a great saint at this moment is too reliant on his reputation. Very well, worthy of being Quasi-Emperors. I hope you can endure a bit more beating. Su Changsheng chuckles. Die for me. The male true Phoenix Quasi-Emperor is full of killing intent. A crimson divine spear appears in his hand, surrounded by Quasi-Emperor's aura. Without hesitation, he thrusts the spear, the starry sky trembles, countless great paths converge, and only a beam of spear light pierces through time and space, penetrating the vast universe, heading toward Su Changsheng. Fight. Su Changsheng smiles, incredibly calm. He moves his hands, seemingly slow yet extremely fast, and the character fight appears, the 9 secrets of battle, the supreme secret technique of attack and conquest. Chapter 99 Secrets in 1, Heavenly Emperor's ultimate move to tear true Phoenix, Su Chang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. Su Changsheng's hands moved, and the supreme secret technique appeared. The starry sky trembled, and endless spiritual energy gathered. The divine power surged endlessly, accompanied by a world-shaking dragon roar. A true dragon appeared, not a heavenly dragon, but a supreme dragon. This true dragon roared, shaking the heavens and earth, causing countless paths to shatter. It collided with the incoming crimson divine spear, and various divine lights exploded. In this starry sky, countless stars were annihilated, as if it were the end of the world. Endless light, divine fire, crimson haze, and chaotic energy danced around. Clang. Then, a loud sound of metal reverberated, shattering the heavens and earth. The crimson divine spear flew high into the air, being flung away by a single strike. The tip of the spear cut across the universe. With a bang, a massive rift appeared, stretching billions of miles to the end of the starry sky. It was profound and resembled a wound in the universe. In that area of the starry sky, several rotating galaxies surrounded a star domain, but they were directly shattered by the sharpness of the spear. This scene caused the many great saints who were watching from afar to gasp in shock, their expressions filled with astonishment, and their minds trembling. If they were to go up there, just the sweep of the spear tip would be enough to kill them all. 1 or 10,000 of them would be useless. Even the Quasi-Emperors couldn't hide their shock. Their brows twitched intensely, deeply shaken. What? On the other side, the male Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan's expression changed. He couldn't even control the crimson divine spear in his hand. It trembled violently, and the tip of the spear swept across the universe. He was greatly shocked. Being slapped away earlier could be explained, as the other party was indeed extraordinary, and he had also been careless. But now, his direct attack was blocked by the other party. This was enough to prove the terror of Su Changsheng. He was a monstrous great saint who could rival a Quasi-Emperor, or even surpass an ordinary Quasi-Emperor. Could it be that the scene from the myths is about to be reenacted? The male Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan was somewhat dazed by the scene before him, unable to believe it. As a Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan, he knew many secrets that belonged only to legends, for example, great saints overthrowing Quasi-Emperors. This was not unheard of. In the extremely distant ancient times, there were a few examples, such as the ancient heavenly emperor and a certain peerless empress, who were suspected of killing quasi-emperors. In addition, according to the records of the true Phoenix clan, if one evolves into the body of a phoenix, they can be comparable to the legendary immortal physique and have the possibility to counterattack a quasi-emperor as a great saint, with a certain chance of killing a quasi-emperor. Furthermore, it is rumored that the son of an immortal king from the immortal world can also achieve this. However, all these examples only exist in legends and are almost impossible to appear, but now, he actually witnessed this scene that belonged only to mythical legends with his own eyes. A monstrous being comparable to the immortal physique. On the other side, the female quasi-emperor of the true Phoenix clan also realized this, her beautiful face unable to hide her shock. No, he must be killed. Soon, her expression turned cold, and she made up her mind. Since the imperial prince offended the other party, in order to avoid future disasters for the true Phoenix clan, this person must be killed. Boom! Immediately, she made her move. A true Phoenix immortal sword appeared in her hand, forged from Phoenix blood red gold, completely red with immortal light swirling around it, a quasi-emperor weapon, clang. A sword light tore through the starry sky, cutting through the universe, heading towards Su Changsheng. Fellow Taoist from the sacred land of chaos, if you don't make a move, if we lose the battle, they won't spare you either. At the same time, she transmitted her voice to Taiyu, her tone cold. Although Taiyu did not reveal his identity, as a quasi-emperor, he was an extremely powerful existence. With a turn of his gaze, he could perceive causality and deduce all things. Although he couldn't deduce the identity of a quasi-emperor lord, it was not difficult to judge that the other party came from the sacred land of chaos through the threads of causality. On the other side, Taiyu struggled in his expression, but upon hearing these words, his eyes finally sharpened, and he made up his mind. So what if it was an ancient great emperor? In the end, they were only great saints. In their current state, they probably used secret techniques to forcefully enhance themselves, which couldn't be sustained for long. With the three quasi-emperors joining forces, they didn't believe they couldn't contend with him. Even if they couldn't win, they could always escape back to the sacred land of chaos. With the foundation of the sacred land, Su Changsheng wouldn't necessarily be feared. Good. Thinking of this, Taiyu Quasi-Emperor responded immediately. Then, he decisively took action, waving his sleeve and releasing 36 beads, each emitting a boundless white divine light. Boom! In an instant, the 36 beads rapidly expanded, transforming into 36 ancient stars, resembling imperial stars, rotating and forming a large formation, manifesting a white tiger. Roar! The majestic white tiger roared. This is one of the 4 divine beasts guarding the heavens and earth, known as the white tiger immortal beast, capable of slaying immortals. Although it is only manifested through the law treasure, it also exudes a terrifying quasi-emperor aura. Boom! The white tiger attacked, commanding the laws of slaughter and destruction in the heavens and earth. With a swipe of its paw, countless divine lights descended, each capable of shattering a galaxy and severely injuring a great saint. The white tiger immortal beast. That is the quasi-emperor divine weapon, the heavenly gang white tiger soldier. It is said to contain a strand of the white tiger's divine soul, capable of summoning white tiger illusions and fighting against quasi-emperors. The Taiyu Quasi-Emperor of the sacred land of chaos, I didn't expect it to be him. Coupled with the 2 quasi-emperors from the true Phoenix clan, can any great saint contend against them? Great saints from all sides were shocked, and the quasi-emperor's eyes flickered, as if contemplating something. Chaos opening heaven art. At the same time, Taiyu also took action, unleashing a profound divine ability that shook the ages. As a quasi-emperor of the sacred land of chaos, his status was extremely high, naturally cultivating the Emperor's scripture. This was precisely the chaos opening heaven art from the Emperor's scripture, a forbidden divine ability at the Emperor grade level. The starry domain boiled, as the three Quasi-Emperors launched their attacks. Their destructive power was simply terrifying. Destructive fluctuations impacted the four corners of the heavens and earth, countless star remnants were crushed. Even the Chaos Kuan divine domain was affected, but it was blocked by the power of the divine Kuan, stabilizing the situation. However, the surrounding divine domains were unlucky, domain walls cracked and shattered, numerous continents trembled, and living beings suffered. The laws of the heavens and earth continuously suffered heavy blows. Damn it, we must stop this. Otherwise, our divine realm will be destroyed. Damn it, this is the territory of the everlasting imperial court. The sacred land of chaos and the true Phoenix clan have gone too far. In the various divine realms, the great saints trembled with fear and took action one after another, using their formidable strength to stabilize the four directions, fearing that their divine realms would be destroyed. Fortunately, only a small part of the aftermath impacted their divine realms, and the united efforts of the great saints barely managed to withstand it. However, some great saints from the everlasting imperial court were furious. As the guardians of the various divine realms, they were extremely angry at the actions of the several Quasi-Emperors. However, even if they were furious, they didn't dare to confront the three Quasi-Emperors. Otherwise, if they were slapped to death, no one would stand up for them. Ha ha ha, very good, this is more like it. Changsheng laughed heartily. He clapped his hands continuously, his 5 fingers shining brightly, surrounded by immortal light, resembling the hands of an immortal. The secrets of the fight and all characters erupted in full force. Supreme attack and destruction. Secret techniques that increased power tenfold. Both of the strongest 9 secrets were fully unleashed, all of them being forbidden techniques at the Emperor grade level. Roar. Various powerful divine beasts such as true dragons, divine phoenixes, and Emperor cauldrons, and even Emperor weapons appeared, materialized by him. Under the tenfold increase in combat power, they directly pierced through the universe. Boom! The starry sky shattered, and the attacks of the 3 Quasi-Emperors were directly shattered and completely resolved with ease. Boom! In the midst of it, Changsheng made his move again. He took a big step forward, activated the secret technique of the walk character, and fragments of time danced around him. The laws of space surrounded him, as if he had broken free from the constraints of the universe's time and space. Clang! Like a god or a demon, as if the heavenly emperor had descended, his fingers were like heavenly knives, radiating divine brilliance, tearing through the universe. He slapped towards that white tiger divine beast, accompanied by a collision that shook the heavens and the earth. The massive white tiger was torn apart directly, divine light surged, resembling blood flowing, and the white tiger divine beast wailed incessantly. After all, it was not a true Quasi-Emperor, but a transformation of a divine weapon, a change in divine ability. In terms of the laws of the Great Tao, it was inferior to a true Quasi-Emperor powerhouse in every aspect. Roar. However, in the face of Changsheng's palm, it still roared and resisted with all its might. The avenues of killing and destruction erupted, forming worlds that collided with him. I don't believe your divine consciousness is so terrifying. On the other side, the previous true Phoenix clan male, Quasi-Emperor, spoke coldly, and a vast divine consciousness surged over, like a raging sea of crimson. That was the overwhelming divine consciousness of a Quasi-Emperor, and it was also using a powerful divine ability, extremely terrifying, specifically designed to suppress the primordial spirit. Changsheng's expression remained unchanged, his gaze swept over, and a secret burst forth from his brow. This was the secret of the primordial spirit. Under the tenfold amplification of the secret of the all character, it erupted directly. Boom! The primordial spirit slashed out like a heavenly blade, unexpectedly shattering the sea of red divine consciousness, causing the Quasi-Emperor to stagger, blood flowing from his mouth and nose, his expression filled with shock. In a divine consciousness confrontation, he actually lost to a great saint. Destruction. At the same time, Changsheng waved his hands, and a bronze coffin appeared, with 3 layers inside, pulled by 9 true dragons, extremely mysterious. Then, the bronze coffin opened, deep and unfathomable, as if swallowing the universe and all things. A terrifying aura pervaded, causing the three Quasi-Emperors, and even the powerful beings watching here, to tremble and feel fear. That coffin? I seemed to see the horrifying scene of the destruction of the heavens and the floating corpses of the immortals. Within Chaos Kun Academy, two venerable beings had their eyes shining brightly as they looked at the grand bronze coffin from afar, very shocked. What is Su Changsheng's background after all? To be able to erupt such a heaven-defying divine ability, that bronze coffin seemed so real, making them all extremely frightened. Roar! In the midst of it, the white tiger howled in anguish, and numerous worlds were swallowed up by the bronze coffin, as were various avenues of killing and destruction. Completely ineffective, the bronze coffin descended, crushing the galaxy with a loud bang, and suppressing the white tiger within it, causing it to disintegrate and transform back into 36 beads, violently trembling, almost on the verge of shattering. My treasure! On the other side, the Taiyu Quasi-Emperor's eyes turned red. He didn't expect Su Changsheng to be so extraordinary. This kind of combat power is simply beyond what a great saint can achieve. Even if it's the reincarnation of an ancient great emperor, it shouldn't be so extraordinary. Boom! However, he is a Quasi-Emperor after all, with a firm Tao heart. A boundless and emperorless divine power erupted from his body, like a true dragon, like an ocean, impacting in all directions. Please give me flowers. Then, a purple gold pagoda soared into the sky, transforming into a magnificent and immeasurable divine tower. Like a pillar supporting the heavens, 9 purple dragons appeared around the pagoda, each one extremely terrifying, roaring. Fellow Taoist, if you don't make a full move now, this seat won't wait any longer. At the same time, he spoke, his tone icy. He was speaking to the two Quasi-Emperors of the true Phoenix clan. Good. The two Quasi-Emperors of the true Phoenix clan nodded, their expressions solemn. At this point, they dared not underestimate Su Changsheng anymore. He was no longer a great saint ant, but a lifelong enemy. Boom. The three Quasi-Emperors made their move, this time with full force, no longer holding back. Various divine abilities and forbidden killing moves were directed towards Su Changsheng. Good. Su Changsheng clapped his hands, lightly laughing. His palms and fingers emitted a radiant light, and the 5 secrets within his body were fully activated. The 9 great secrets, when facing the enemy, all arrayed themselves forward. This was the imperial law of the 9 mythical heavenly venerables. Although Su Changsheng had comprehended it from the mother Qi of all matter Cauldron, he had only recently gained insight into it and had not yet mastered it deeply. Therefore, Su Changsheng wanted to use the 3 Quasi-Emperors as sharpening stones to help him quickly master these 9 great secrets, not to mention complete comprehension. At least he wanted to grasp the majority of it and combine them into a forbidden heavenly emperor killing move. Boom! Su Changsheng made his move, surrounded by boundless divine light. He waved his hands, and billions of fragments flew, containing the power of the forbidden imperial law. Like countless great worlds, he pushed the vast world like the heavenly emperor traveling, with an unparalleled sharpness that shook the entire heavens and earth, making countless powerhouses tremble and deeply remember this scene. They had a premonition that an invincible heavenly emperor was about to rise, like a divine star suppressing the heavens and pushing through the ages. Boom! The two sides collided, various forbidden divine abilities erupted, instantly shattering everything, and countless battles took place. The chaotic energy boiled, and the true phoenix let out a long roar, dyeing the universe with endless red light, filled with terrifying sharpness, and occasionally a red spear crossed the universe. Clang! The sword edge resounded, revealing a gap in the middle, almost breaking under a finger, causing the female Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan to retreat, her expression filled with shock. Su Changsheng punched, causing the red spear to violently tremble, and his face was directly shattered. What? The male Quasi-Emperor of the true Phoenix clan spat out blood, his own Quasi-Emperor weapon was broken, and a majestic force surged, shattering countless bones. He couldn't believe that he, a Quasi-Emperor, was actually no match for Su Changsheng. Boom! The purple gold pagoda pressed down, and the 9 dragons roared together. The Taiyu Quasi-Emperor erupted with a forbidden divine ability, and a vast chaotic world pressed down, intending to suppress Su Changsheng within it. Annihilate, slaughter, exterminate, trap. Su Changsheng paid no attention to this. In the midst of his conquests, his mastery of the 9 secrets became more proficient. His divine sense operated, constantly comprehending the 9 secrets, and he had already mastered more than half of them. At this moment, he activated the formation secret, revealing the soul formation heavenly venerable supreme killing emperor weapon. Boom! 4 unparalleled emperor weapons appeared, surging with overwhelming killing intent. Accompanied by a formation diagram, a terrifying killing intent shattered the universe, breaking through the purple gold pagoda and annihilating the chaotic world. Puff. The Taiyu Quasi-Emperor also spat out blood, his body crumbling like torn cloth, almost exploding. His expression was filled with unimaginable horror, and his soul was trembling. Under this attack, he was on the verge of death, truly feeling the threat to his life. Su Changsheng. On the other side, the male true phoenix Quasi-Emperor roared as if losing his sanity, manifesting the true form of the true phoenix. A tremendously huge true phoenix appeared, surrounded by swirling red divine fire, emitting a terrifying Quasi-Emperor's aura. With a flap of its wings, it could annihilate entire star seas. With a loud bang, it charged straight ahead, its destructive power causing the other 2 Quasi-Emperors to change their expressions. Huang Yu, you actually used the forbidden secret technique. The female Quasi-Emperor was shocked and incredulous. Once the forbidden secret technique of the true Phoenix clan is activated, the cost is too great and there will be irreparable damage. Generally speaking, the Quasi-Emperors of the true Phoenix clan would not do such a thing. Anger has clouded your mind. Su Changsheng remained calm, then he activated the 9 secrets and moved his hands. This time, all 9 great secrets were activated together, and 9 intensely bright light clusters appeared, emitting an endless and overwhelming aura that surpassed that of a great emperor. This is a forbidden move of the heavenly emperor grade. Those who are about to fight, count off. Su Changsheng spoke, towering like a heavenly emperor, and a majestic voice resounded through the heavens and earth. The 9 intense light clusters merged into one. Among them, a dazzling and endless light shone, radiating an unparalleled power that all Quasi-Emperors, countless powerhouses, could feel. At this moment, they all sensed a terrifying killing intent. A heavenly emperor grade move. Both of the Chaos Kun Academy's grand ancestors were shocked, their expressions dazed and incredulous. Could it be that Su Changsheng is a reincarnation of a heavenly emperor? Otherwise, how could he use such a supreme secret technique? This is a forbidden move capable of slaughtering immortals. Boom! Then, a figure as majestic as a heavenly emperor tore through the chaotic energy, piercing through space, and pierced through the head of the true phoenix. This scene made countless powerhouses tremble. End.